Hello and welcome to Critically Drinking, where we strive to set a higher bar for conversation every single stream. Thank you for joining us. Now grab your drink, take your seat, and let us get ready for the show. Rashawn will be with you shortly to let you know what's on tap for the day.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Sorry, I had to peek at the mute button. Welcome to Critically Drinking. I'm your host, Rashawn. Hope y'all doing well. And I know it got the little invisible in there. I had to put on my brotherhood beanie today. I needed my brotherhood beanie. What is up, Nay? How are you feeling? How are you doing? Been listening to the conversations over at Brother Clarence's. Hello, Greg Bryant, one of the Bryant brothers. Good to see you. Kansas and in the building. What's up? What's up? Let me go ahead and take this off real quick. I'll just being ignorant. But anyway, there we go. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. It is June the 10th. Dury Meta is in the building. Now, I do got to warn everybody. I have to warn everybody, especially you, Greg, especially you. Today, we are diving into the world of psychology. So we are getting into a little bit of cognitive behavioral therapy talk. So that's what we're going to be doing on these Mondays. So I'm just letting you know up front, Greg. Just letting you know up front. I know we're in that territory that you're so fond of. What is up, Dury, man? Hope everything's going well. Don Frank in the building. Hello. And again, I want to warn everybody up front, man. This is definitely going to be a nerd session. Hey, okay, you can hang out and you pick the perfect day for it. You pick the day where it's not a lot of fun stuff. It's going to be nerd stuff and learning. So, man, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The wrong day. Tomorrow will be a lot more fun. Tomorrow should be a little bit more fun. And, I'm going to be picking at content creators tomorrow. So, you got the wrong day off. Dawn. Harris Tribe Media Group in the building. Peace and love to the Harris Tribe. Mr. He said, Mrs. She said, much love to you. Next Tuesday on the 27th, Tuesday the 27th, Mr. He said will be over here to hang out with us. So definitely come check that out. This Thursday, I'll have Candid Ann on. Come check us out. And tomorrow I'll be again making fun of some content creators. They be out here being just crazy, y'all. These content creators, boy. Every now and then I'm just going to pick a content creator that I see doing something crazy. I'm talk about them. It is what it is. I know. Called you out. Nerd alert. What's up, Leah? Good to have you in the building. Hello. And just again, quickly, we're just going to be going into a little bit of cognitive behavioral therapy type content on Mondays. So I do want to have a little bit more of building upon concepts. So we're going to start with something called ego states. Don't worry about that. We're going to rename it. I don't know exactly what we're going to rename it, but we're going to rename it. We're going to rename a lot of the terms because it has to be something that we'll remember. It has to be something that relates to us. So we'll hear it. You'll be able to pick out some of the concepts that sound familiar. We see this stuff happen. We see it happen in real life. We see it happen on these panels because human behavior is what it is. So it's definitely recognizable. I'm going to bring in some conversations from this specific doctor or psychiatrist, She's somebody. But a lot of stuff she says I think will be useful. And we'll build on these concepts week after week, at least for the next. I think I have the next 3 scheduled, the next 3 Mondays, and I have a 5th one scheduled too. So they'll all be in the same realm or the same sphere of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is like a facet of psychology, psychiatry, whatever. But we'll be working through stuff together. Quantum in the building, definitely here for the nerd shit. Peace, everyone. Salute. What is up, Quantum? Good to see you. Hope everything is well. So I'm going to start us off though with I wanted to acknowledge a few people. I wanted to acknowledge Nia, Chris Classic from the Take It Home podcast, and Brother Von Eric for their contributions to the channel in the various ways. So thank all of you. Everything, like Brother Umar, everything was not cash. Everything's not cash, but like he held up the gift card. He held up the t-shirts, man. It's all gifts and donations, man. So appreciate all of y'all for giving to the channel and keeping it going, man.
Prince of Pan-Africanism is back, showing love to all my donors and supporters. We've been at it for 2 hours and we still got donations to go through.
I'll take that.
See, I get love. Y'all focus on the hate, I focus on the love.
Is that a lot?
That's a lot.
I got another donation. Donations. 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 Donations.
Wow, that's a lot.
Gifts. 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 More gifts. More gifts. More gifts.
Wow, thanks.
Man, for sure, man. Shout out to all of you for giving. Von Eric has sent through some music from his nephew. So I guess his nephew does some music, and he's offered me some of the music that his nephew's made. So I'll definitely be clipping some of that into content or using it as, transition. So thank you, Von Eric, for your contributions. Anae, thank you. And thank you also to, dang, who did I just say? How did I forget that quick? My memory, y'all. I'm getting old. Oh, I'm getting so old. That is so sad. Chris the Classic Alpha, man, wrestling. C3 Ultimate Wrestling. Man, he's right there on the screen. What was I doing, y'all? Why? I need y'all to keep me straight. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Quiet Bree is in the building. Hello. Good to see you as well. I am going to start today's conversation with this. Listen, y'all. I don't want to come across as y'all might think when I say this, you'll understand what I'm saying. Y'all might think I am into men when I say what I'm about to say. Y'all might think I'm homosexual. This first content creator that I'm about to show y'all is one of the most handsome, sexy guys I've ever seen in my life. But what he's talking about leads us into today's conversation. I am going to bring this guy in. We're going to play a bit of his clip from about a year ago that this guy put content out. Man, I really hope this guy has the type of love and support that he deserves, because he's amazing. This guy is amazing. This guy is amazing. And I mean, when I see him on the screen, I can't help but to stop and stare and smile a little bit. Maybe y'all feel the same way. I don't know. Every time I see this guy, I just light up. Every time I see this guy's face, I light up. It just does something to me. So I don't know. I don't know if it does the same thing to you guys, but it does something for me. So I don't know if that makes me gay. I don't know. I honestly don't. But when I see this man right here, when I see that man's face right there, oh my God, I get butterflies. I get the tingles. I get the tingles, y'all. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But he's sexy. And he's brilliant. He's a brilliant man. He's funny. I love him. I love him so much. But I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means that I love this man so much. I refuse to believe anyone cares about the Little Mermaid as much as internet people say they do. Yeah, Umar went crazy. Yeah, he did flip out over the Little Mermaid. So I'm going to talk about that at some point. I think maybe over there on Twitch. I don't know. I know, Quantum. It's only gay if you enjoy it. Listen, when I see this guy, I enjoy it. Every single time. It may mean that. What's up, be black in the building? What is up? Best way to tell, do you touch his dick? Unfortunately, I have touched it several times. Now listen, don't judge me. Don't judge me. But every single day, I probably touch it. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying which way I touch it, but sometimes I hold it for him. When this guy has to go to the bathroom, I hold it. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of respect he garners from me. When he goes to the bathroom, I'm holding it. I mean, that's just where we at. That's the kind of relationship we got. I'm sorry. I got to tell the truth. I just got to tell the truth. Shame the devil. I light up when I see him. That's what's up. See, Quantum feel the same way I do. Listen, and if I gotta hold it when he goes to the bathroom, if I gotta hold his dick, that's what I gotta do. That's what I gotta do. For that man alone, will I do that? That man right there, that's the only guy I'm gonna do that for. I just want y'all to know that. That guy taught me how to be a chat troll. Listen. Well, as long as there's no eye contact. Now, I've never had eye contact when I'm doing that for him. Never had eye contact. In fact, I've actually never really had direct eye contact with this man, which is weird. That's kind of weird. But I've caught a few glimpses of him in a reflection. Yeah. Anyway, let me get to this. Let me quit playing with y'all. Pause. I'm going to play this probably about the first couple minutes. Just the first couple minutes, because I like the fact that it came back. But we have to talk about scripting, the narratives that we talk, the narratives that we run off of, the stories we tell ourselves, the lies that we kind of help us get through life. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're going to start here, probably about 4 or 5 minutes of this. Then we're going to go into the cognitive behavioral therapy. I mean, because people are predictable. We rehearse the same patterns over and over. Before it was chicken, there were things like Jordans. And how you gonna be out of the Jordans, or how you not out of it's not the first time we've done this. It was just a chicken sandwich this time, and it'll be something else next time. This is predictable. All this stuff, that's why The Simpsons has so many predictions. It's not because they're clairvoyant. Human nature follows patterns, and we rehearse them. It's like almost like a play. Life hands you a script, and most of us read from it. Then after a while, some of us will be like, I don't want to play out this script. I don't like this script. I don't like the role that's been handed to me. I want to do something different. And that's where the alchemist comes in. You don't have to follow the script that people hand you. You can discover your own role. You can create your own play. Like that's what AR was talking about, where people could do something different. A lot of people act out a role, like the drug dealer. That's what was shown to me. You don't have to do that. But a lot of people they follow the script. They rehearse the play. They do the same scenes over and over. Every family, every Thanksgiving, there's the same argument over the same topic from the same couple of people because they've never solved the issue within them, either of them. So we rehearse the same patterns. I don't know why I put that on the screen. That was kind of weird. And all this stuff. Some of the same conversations are happening on the same platforms because they're rehearsing. And that's why I fight some of the things I fight with. I don't want to get up here and fall into a script. I don't want to fall into a pattern. I think I did, though. But you see it. You see certain platforms where they have the same conversation, the same topics, the same questions. If you've been over here, and y'all, you've probably been over here for a week, and you've seen how the conversations are picking up pieces from prior conversations and from the Discord conversations. So a lot of all right, that's enough. I just wanted y'all to hear that because, this is a conversation. I fell into a script. I've been talking about the same thing now for a year. That was a year ago. I'm here talking about it again. It's submission, leadership. That matter. The conversations come back around again. And this time it's about the script, the narrative, the story that you tell yourself, the lies sometimes, the delusion, whatever words you want to say. I need to know what that B stands for. What B? What B? What did I miss? Oh, that one? And that LMBO? I got to leave y'all alone. Y'all on something else. But I did want to start there because we are going to talk about scripting, but we're going to come back to that. This is a doctor. This is from Lewis Psychology. This lady is going to talk about ego states. And we're going to break in, like chop it up, talk about it, because I think it's important that we kind of see some of the stuff. I've said it multiple times, but I don't have I didn't have the language for it. I didn't go to school for this stuff. I'm kind of like picking it up on the fly. So this lady's actually going to give, I guess, language for it that they study. I know Greg Bryant doesn't like psychology, sociology, all that stuff, but this lady's going to talk about transactional analysis, which is another theory, but it gives languages to some of the things that we see. I'll kind of express it from my vantage point, how we see it, how we probably experience it, and probably a little bit different language. And then again, I'll ask you guys for feedback and trying to tell me how you experience this stuff. But let me pull that in. We got Rico in the building. Happy Freedom Day to all my black folks. What's up, Rico? Good to see you. Bam. And I'll be pausing this intermittently. Let me get my June supporters off the screen. Thank y'all so much, man, for doing what y'all do. You all are amazing. Didn't I say play?
known as parent, adult, and
I guess
it's an
Teresa
evidence-
Lewis. Okay, cool.
Transactional analysis, or TA, is an evidence-based model of psychotherapy developed by Eric Berne. A key assumption behind this model is that you are made up of 3 different parts, known as parent, adult, and child.
Now I want y'all to see that. So these are calling it ego state. She's calling it ego states, but I would probably say when we get to it, the voices that you hear, like the voices, like your critical voice, the one that criticizes you, that would be like the parent. The adult, that would be the way you think you are in the moment. When somebody's talking to you, they're talking to the adult ego state. And then the child, that's the one that's probably more prone to like being like the victim and stuff like that. So let's say a parent is your strong man, the child is your weak man, weak woman, weak person. It's genderless. Parent will be like your strong person, child will be your weak person. Again, like the innocent. We did those personality types. We looked at like the innocent, that would be in the child zone. Parent would be something like the hero or something like that. So those are the kind of like 3 zones that people might operate from. So I did want to pause it there so y'all can look at that, because all 3 of those are present in you. And you've seen it in conversations. You've seen people shift in and out of conversations through these 3 zones. And we'll be pointing that out. I don't have a bias against it. I just poke at it like I do everything. Nothing wrong with that. And yeah, good to see you. Hello, hello. Good to see ya.
In TA, we call these parts ego states. Now, each ego state consists of a set of behaviors, thoughts, and feelings, and reflects a different way you interact with the world and those around you. For example, when you're in your parent ego state, you are behaving, thinking, and feeling in ways copied from your parents or parental figures. When you're in your child ego state, you are behaving, thinking, and feeling as you did when you were a child. And when you are in your adult ego state, you are behaving, thinking, and feeling in ways which are direct, here and now response to events around you, using all of your...
Just another thing, whatever, Quantum. You destroyed the critic in me. I don't believe it. Everybody's got a little criticism, a little self-criticism. It's healthy. I think it's necessary to criticize yourself. But I wanted everybody to be able to take a look at that. I'm going to be in this like in a video series for a while today, probably somewhere between 2 to 3 hours. I understand that that's quite a bit of time. Most classes don't even last that long. So when we're going through this, I want to try to make it conversational and bring up points and analogies and stories, but I would totally expect most people to break it up, like break it up into 30-minute segments if you choose to. I mean, if this is your kind of thing. If not, that's cool too. Do it how you feel. But I just wanted to say, I wouldn't expect anybody to sit through 2 to 3 hours of this. But if you do, man, more power to you. And I'm happy that you will. But I myself, if I was watching this, I would probably break it up into segments because it's going to be quite a bit. It's going to be quite a bit. But I want to go over some of these points multiple times because this will probably be new language for a lot of people. And as we go over the concepts, we might have to go through it a couple times, just make sure people ask questions, if they understand it. So it's not heavy, but I want people to get a concept that I've been kind of keeping in my head, but I didn't have language for it until this week.
Your abilities as a grown-up. Now, in TA practice, we simply say, I'm in my parent, I'm in my child, or I'm in my adult. So let's look at what the ego states look like in the real world. Let's imagine I'm driving my car in crowded traffic. I'm observing the speed limit, looking out for road signs, and I'm controlling my car in response to what's going on around me here and now. I'm therefore in my adult ego state. Now, another driver cuts me up and I shake my head and I point my finger and I shout. And at that moment, I've moved to my parent ego state. I then notice I'm running late for work and my heart sinks and I feel panic-stricken. I've shifted to my child ego state. So you can see that you're actually moving in and out of your parent, adult, and child ego states all the time. And no ego state is considered good or bad. We need all of them to be in balance. So it's about having the psychological flexibility to move between each ego state as needed.
Now, I just want to go real quick again. She gave a pretty clear example how anybody in one situation, you can shift through all 3 of your ego states pretty quickly. it's just important. The reason I want to bring this up, especially during these conversations, you'll see somebody shift between like being a critic of you, that like they're criticizing something you said, but then the moment you flip it back on them, they go into kind of victim mode. They're flipping from their parent to their child ego state. But the adult ego state would allow them to have a conversation with you because they're fully in the moment and not in that critical position or that victim position, that lower position. So that's just like another way to look at that. Hot salute here. And man, thank you so much, man. Definitely added you to our supporter board. Thank you for the support, Chris, the classic alpha. Take It Home podcast, man. Definitely appreciate you for the love and the support. What did I just hit? Okay, cool. That's what I meant to do. Appreciate you for coming through. We are talking about some psychology today. So I'm gonna let the lady get back into it.
Let's take a deeper look at each ego state, starting with the parent. From the diagram, you can see that both the parent and child ego states are divided and the adult is not divided.
Real quick, don't pay a lot of attention to this part. Like, unless you want to go to school for this stuff, you won't really need to know like the control parent, nurturing parent, adaptive child, free child. But that is just for the sake of understanding how people operate. You may want to make note of it, but I wouldn't try to memorize it. I probably didn't have to tell you that, but I'm going to cut in from time to time to say something that's probably completely unnecessary.
So starting with the parent, you can see there is a controlling parent, which is often called the critical parent, and also a nurturing parent. When the nurturing parent is expressed positively, you are caring, supportive, protective, and loving. When expressed negatively, you may be overprotective, smothering, and overbearing. Now, when the controlling parent is expressed positively, you will be motivated to provide safe boundaries and limits with the intention to protect. When expressed negatively, you may be controlling, judgmental,
I'm muted. I saw it.
critical, and authoritarian. The child ego, critical.
Now let me unmute. I just wanted y'all to take a look at that one real quick because each zone has different, like a positive and a negative polarity. You can have a positive, negative reaction or negative response, positive and negative feeling, no matter what position you're in. So if you're on the voice in your head, the nurturing parent is kind to you. It could be caring, supportive, and protective. Like, no, you deserve that. Or, like, you've been good. Or, you did a good job. That's the positive voice in your head. But it could also be negative and like overprotective. No, everybody's out to get you. Or, the voices in your head can kind of lead you towards a positive or negative path. That's why it's important, the language that you choose when you even talk to yourself. The controlling parent, again, is motivated to provide safe boundaries and limits with the intention to protect. That's a positive. Being able to set up boundaries is a positive. No, you're not going to abuse my time or disregard my time or disregard my feelings. Positive. But it can go into the negative. It can be absolutely controlling. No, you have to be here right now because I said that. And you can't control other people's behaviors. Like, so it can skew positive or it can skew negative. But you see that in people when they're like in a critical place. Blessings. So we got Fine Eric in the building. And again, I just want to thank you for your support of the channel. I agree with the controlling being negative, but in the role of a parent, I don't see the other three as negative. No, only two of these are negative. There's a positive and a negative on each one. So there's a plus sign. Motivated to provide safe boundaries and limits with the intention to protect. That's positive. The negative is controlling, judgmental, critical, and authoritarian. And on the nurturing side,
authoritarian.
On the nurturing side, caring, supportive, protective, and loving is positive. The negative of that is overprotective, smothering, and overbearing. That's the negative. So there are two negatives and two positives up here. Power in the tongue. Hitting the horn on the way. Beep, beep, ninja. What's up, Yellow? I know you over there playing Jackie Robinson edition baseball. So, man, appreciate you for stopping through.
The child ego state.
You remember that? Oops. I didn't think you saw that.
The child ego state expresses itself through feelings and instinctive reactions. It functions in two distinct modes, the adapted child and the free child.
Man, pay attention to this one because you will recognize the negatives of this and a lot of people adults. And again, child does not have to do with age. It's there's a part of you that has a childlike state.
Free child is expressed positively, you'll be creative, spontaneous, and playful. And when expressed negatively, you may act in socially unconstrained ways.
Socially unconstrained. How many conversations do we have about people in society who are socially unconstrained? They want to behave however they want to, no matter where they are, like spoiled children. That socially unconstrained comes from the negative aspect of the free child ego state.
Such as belching loudly at a dinner party or driving 100 miles an hour down a country road. Now, when you are in your adapted child, you are responding on the basis of internalized social learning. So you will behave in ways which conform to your parental, cultural, or societal standards. There are many rules we all follow about how to live life and be accepted in the world. So before I cross the road, I look left and right as my mother taught me. And when my husband asks if I'd like a cup of tea, I say, please. So by replaying these rule-following behaviors, you usually get what you want comfortably for yourself and others that you care about. Now, by contrast, when you're...
Now, real quick, the positive of the adapted child. The adapted child is it's like a person who can, and again, the child part. That's why we got to reframe this. I don't even know what to call it. The adaptive voice. Let's call it the adaptive voice or the adaptive mind. The adaptive mind, because everybody, parent and child, is going to be in people's minds is automatically going to associate to a parent or child. Let's say the adapted mind. The adapted mind, it tries to have a social awareness. It does not, like the same way a lot of us, if we were to travel, we would go like, okay, so what do I do here? Should I say this? Should I do that? We would have an inquisitive nature to not to offend. That's the positive aspect. We want to learn how to operate and be accepted and not to cause harm. That's the adapted mind in a positive frame. But like she's getting ready to go into the negative frame. I'll go ahead and let her speak on that. Let me just see what the other says. I'm not black enough to keep struggling with this mode. Jackie can stay in the Negro Leagues for all I care. Juneteenth. And Mr. Oh, come on. Man, so many come to mind. With that socially unconstrained, used to call it what? Cantankerous. Oh, man.
In your negative adapted child, you replay childhood patterns of behavior that are no longer appropriate to your life as a grown-up.
Now, replaying childhood patterns of behavior that are no longer appropriate for your life as a grown-up. Sulking or manipulation when you do not get your way. How many times we've seen somebody not get their way, even in a panel conversation, and they spaz out. Now, we'll be talking a little bit about that tomorrow. Spaz out. It's a childish thing, but we see it coming from adults. That's why it's like the adapted child, the negative aspect of the adapted child, the adapted mind. Because these aren't children behaving like this. These are full-fledged adults. But they'll replay childhood behavior. Oh, you interrupted me, so I'm going to make sure I interrupt you, tit for tat. There's going to be a lot of that in your life where adults are responding from something they learned from their childhood, the way they interacted with their siblings, the way they had to interact with their parents. So the negatives do stem from the stuff that they learned in childhood, and it never grew up. It stayed skewed negative. So that's what a lot of this stuff, a lot of the conversations that we see break down is because of this stuff right here.
For example, as a young person, you may have learned to sulk or manipulate to get attention or to get what you want. And then as a grown-up, you may sulk and manipulate in the hope that you get attention or get what you want. The adult ego state. The adult ego state is not subdivided. We class any behavior as adult that is in response to the here and now situation, using all of your resources as a grown-up. The adult is the ego state of rationality and reason. It functions to mediate between the parent and child. The adult checks your external world and brings realism and rationality to your internal view. When you are in your adult, you will be assertive, logical, and concerned with facts and data. Now let's
go back to that real quick.
Concerned with.
So again, positives from the adult, because the adult is the person who's kind of tapped in, they're locked in, they're paying attention to what's going on currently. They're not in their past trauma, their childhood trauma, and into that child brain. And they're not acting out the script that they learned from their parents, like the hypercriticism or the overbearingness. They're not in that brain, positive or negative. but they're like, right now, I'm with you. I'm having this conversation with you. That's why everything kind of skews towards positive, because if you're not reacting from something that you internalized from before, you're right now, it should go all positive. But unfortunately, people slip into those other brains. I have a photo, but it's in iCloud notes, and they're just not the best. But it talked about the adult ego state, or the ego mind, the adult mind, the adult, whatever, I can't remember, the adult voice is focused on the here and now. The parent and child states are always looking either towards the future or the past. So that's why it's another, they're always worried about what's going to happen, what might happen. That's why they're protective, because worried about what might happen, or it's reactive, which like the child state, like it's reactive and it doesn't react, like the manipulation and the boundary crossing, so things like that. Wish I could pull that up, but it does not come up properly from my notes.
And with facts and data.
Appreciate you, Yellow.
Now let's take a deeper look at the ego states in action by looking at transactions. Now, a transaction takes place where you or another person offers some kind of communication. So I say, hi there, and you reply, hi. We've just completed a transaction. Within TA, the formal language for the opening communication is the stimulus.
And again, the language, I would change this language. So instead of a transaction, I would just call it an interaction. Sounds much more to the point, but I can't help what words people choose.
And the reply is the response. In my example, the stimulus came from my adult ego state, and the response also came from the adult ego state. The transaction arrows or vectors are aligned, which means it's a complementary transaction. Let's look at another example of a complementary transaction. We're going to look at Anne and John. John is late for work, and Anne shouts, "You're late again, this just will not do." John mutters, "Sorry, try not to do it again."
Like, and just to point out what she's saying, that one person came from that parent mind, that parent voice, that place of authority, and was shouting down at somebody. So the person came from their child response, like, I apologize, that weaker position. I know in a lot of this red pill manosphere space, a lot of people would be like the masculine and feminine. That's probably the way they would take it. But it's talking about like the authoritative position, and like the subordinate position, the parent, the child. So these are the two positions that that bracket you, that bracket the place where you are kind of in the moment.
You can see the vectors are parallel. This also fits the description of a complementary transaction. According to Eric Byrne, the first rule of communication is, so long as transactions remain complementary, communication can proceed indefinitely. A complementary transaction has the quality of expectation about it. Anne expected an adapted child apology, and John did indeed provide an apology from his adapted child ego state. Crossed transactions. Let's run this.
Now, this is where the interactions, they call it transaction, but the interactions get murky.
This just will not do. This time, John moves to adult and states, I hear you're angry. I understand why you may feel this way. Let's go to the meeting room and talk about it.
And did you see how differently that would shift the conversation? You could already feel how differently that would go. It's not the expected response. You're late again. You can't keep coming in late. Like, matter of fact, I would have said that the man's real. And if he had responded with, like, if he came in and like was late and was trying to, like, I hear you're angry. I understand why you may feel it. Let's go to the meeting and talk about it. It diffuses that energy. Either I'm going to look like an asshole to keep coming in aggressive, coming in angry, coming in hot. Then I look weird when they're coming in completely even keel, coming in completely balanced, but I'm still coming in hot. That's why it's crossed. It's weird. The energies don't match up. So that's how one of the people, when people are talking about disrupting energy or stuff, they say stuff like kill them with kindness. They're trying to say, when everybody's talking about matching energies, don't match the energy. You're just going to keep having that exchange forever because your energies are aligned. Break the pattern, break the lines up, come in at a different angle. That way it disrupts that energy. You don't want it to continue on forever.
John crossed Anne's controlling parent to adapted child stimulus with an adult to adult response. You can see the vectors are crossed. The response cuts across the flow of communication that had been expected from Anne.
M.
The
Mills,
key
hello,
quality of a
hello.
cross transaction is one in which the ego state addressed is not the one that responds. When a transaction is crossed, a break in communication results, and one or both individuals will need to shift ego states for communication to be re-established.
It's like what they're saying. If that person comes in like in that parent, they're trying to parent you, they're trying to jump on you, and you come in as a full-fledged adult, like, okay, I see why you mad. Maybe we can talk about it. They then are going to have to either shift to their adult state so y'all can have the conversation on the same level, or it's going to be weird trying to shout down to somebody who's not returning the energy. The energy has to be aligned in like parent to child or adult to adult, or both parents, or there has to be some kind of energy balancing. There has to be some sort of energy balancing for the conversation to continue. Otherwise, it's going to be really weird. You've probably seen it. You've probably seen it here. I've done this where there are people that are coming with a level of energy that I'm not going to reciprocate. I'm not going to return the energy the way you wanted me to handle it. You want me to jump into that child state, and I'm not going to get sunned. You're not going to like punk me. These are some of the language and euphemisms that we use for this dynamic. You're not going to punk me. You're not going to sun me. You're not going to put me into that child ego state. Man, you think you're somebody's daddy. You think you're somebody's mom. You ain't nobody's mom. You're talking about they're talking to you from that parent ego state. We just use different language for this same concept. But if you can see it, even with maybe that visual representation, you can see how you can break those lines of dialogue from being so, circular. As long as everybody's on that same, where those lines are parallel, you'll keep staying in that dynamic. You'll never break that up. And the people will keep talking to you from that same state. Right. The takeaway I'm getting is be an adult. Be an adult. Yes, this is the key. Being an adult as much as possible, but most people are going to shift into either the child or the parental, because we do inhabit and inherit voices and ideas and pathologies from our parents. From our childhood, from other people like mentors, teachers. We pick up some of these things. Most people pick up stuff. Now, Brother Bryant, you might be the exception. But can you hear when someone's child is speaking? Some people can't peep it. Facts.
According to Eric Byrne, the second rule of communication is when a transaction is crossed, a break in communication results, and one or both individuals will need to shift ego states in order for communication to be reestablished.
Matter of fact, when some people are talking about a household dispute, like between partners, and one person's coming in hot, and they'll advise somebody to say, like, I hear that you're angry and I understand. I'd like you to lower your tone so we can have that conversation. Another way of saying, the way she's saying that is they're in that adult ego state and they're trying to talk down to you in the child state, but you're on your adult level and you're trying to have a conversation. So they have to shift into the adult state to have an adult conversation with you. Or what will happen is maybe it will trigger something in you and you're going to flip and you're going to get into that child mode and you're going to then equalize and allow that they can keep jumping on you and you'll fall into that victim space. You'll fall into that vulnerable state. So one of those two has to happen. Either they have to come down on a level and be an adult and have that conversation, or there you go. You come in hot, I'm coming in hotter. And she's going to talk about that too. Maybe it'll trigger something in you because you can get that response from you could be in any of the three states. So you might go parent, and maybe the other person will then back down. Or then they'll try to be the bigger person. I'll be the adult. I'll be the bigger person. Everybody has these three different zones that they can shift in and out of in the middle of a conversation, which is why so many of these conversations, we're watching them and we're like, what just happened? Why did it go that way? Why did these adults start having this kind of an issue? Or like, man, that conversation went better than expected. They maybe got aligned on that adult. And some people do this stuff intuitively. Some people need to see it and hear it so they can understand it so they can move better.
With reference to the second rule of communication,
that's what this is about.
Rerun Anne and John. Anne shouts.
Real quick, that's what this is about. If people understand what's going on, if we become aware of our behaviors and how our minds are shifting and our conversations are shifting in and out of states, then you can determine for yourself how to behave, because you'll feel yourself like, wait a minute, I feel like I'm shifting. I feel like I'm getting sunned. I feel like I'm getting punked. Maybe you know what? I see why you're mad, but let's have a conversation instead of you trying to talk down to me. Did I hit play?
In TA, we call these parts ego states. Now, each ego state consists of a set of behaviors, thoughts, and feelings, and reflects a different way you interact with the world and those around you. For example, when you're in your parent ego state, you are behaving, thinking, and feeling in ways copied from your parents or parental figures.
Real quick, as we talk about this stuff all the time, like, but in pieces. We'll talk about like hurt people. Like a lot of the patterns, what you're saying is a pattern that got applied to you is the pattern that you're going to learn to apply to others. So if people were always yelling, you are prone to be a yeller. You saw that as a way to get things done. If people were hitters, you tend to be a hitter. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of people tend to do the things that they saw in their environment, from their parents, from their friend groups, whatever. What was in your environment is typically what you copy. It's hard to not do exactly what you saw. Where else would you get the ideas from to do what you did? Simma in the building. What is going on? Logical class. I'm in session. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. And it is a choice. It is a choice. I'm not about to pretend to be the bigger person all the time. It's not about pretending. It's about you can just choose to be an adult. Sometimes that's walking away. Sometimes it's not engaging because it's a fruitless conversation. But everybody has these states. Not everybody employs them the same way. Not everybody employs them by choice. Some people are emotionally moved between states. Triggers happen and send you into a state. Only thing I'm trying to do is say, if you're aware of them, you can start to choose as opposed to being moved. Like, what they say in Black Panther, move or you will be moved. Like choose to move or your emotions are going to move you. I try to go quiet when in an argument. That way, only one person is arguing. They will stop. They have to, because the dynamic has changed. You disrupted the energy flow, so they have to then adjust to that. Triggers can move you in and out for sure. Absolutely. I choose to match energy. Yeah, and that's your choice. That's absolutely your choice.
When you're in your child ego state, you are behaving, thinking, and feeling as you did when you were a child. And when you are in your adult ego state, you're behaving, thinking, and feeling in ways which are direct, here and now response to events around you, using all of your abilities as a grown-up. Now, in TA practice, we simply say, I'm in my parent, I'm in my child, or I'm in my adult. So let's look at what the ego states look like in the real world. Let's imagine I'm driving my car in crowded traffic. I'm observing the speed limit, looking out for road signs, and I'm controlling my car in response to what's going on around me here and now.
That's very adult.
I'm therefore in my adult ego state. Now, another driver cuts me up and I shake my head and I point my finger. And
all right, now. She starts wagging her finger at somebody for cutting her off. Which state did she go into? Which state did she go into? Somebody tell me in the chat. So she was in the adult, minding her business, handling all the adult things, trying to drive, obeying the rules, blah, blah, blah. Somebody cut her off and it sends her into a finger wagging session. What state did she slip into? Ooh, yes, let's. Practical application. Parent. Absolutely. Parent.
go and I shout.
God mode.
And at that moment, I've moved to my parent ego
Facts.
state. I then notice I'm running late for work and my heart sinks and I feel panic stricken. I've shifted to my child ego state. So you can see that you're actually moving in and out of your parent, adult, and child ego states all the time. And no ego state is considered good or bad. We need all of them to be in balance. So it's about having the psychological flexibility to move between each ego state as needed. Let's take a deeper look at each ego state, starting
I think I went backwards.
Parent.
I backed up at some point, didn't I?
From the diagram, you can see that both the
I feel like I backed
parent and
up.
child ego states are divided, and the adult
How did I back up?
intention to protect.
I did back up.
Ways.
My
such
bad,
as
y'all.
belching
I don't know how I did that.
in the hope that you get attention or get.
Where was I?
In my example, the
Yeah, we were back here
apology,
somewhere.
and John did indeed provide an apology from his adapted child
My
ego
bad.
state. Cross transactions.
We did the cross transactions.
is one in which the ego state, when a transaction is crossed.
Okay, yeah, we were somewhere in here. Okay, cool. My bad, y'all. My bad.
And states, I hear you're angry. I understand why you may feel this way. Let's go to the meeting room and talk about it.
It's messed up.
And responds, I am angry and I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. I'm sorry. We do need to discuss this lateness. Yes, let's go to the meeting room and have a private.
That's where we were. Don't know how I did that, but I like that. I wanted to give that example
and
again.
This will not do.
But this is a good example of how the language will shift.
I hear you're angry. I understand why you may feel this way. Let's go to the meeting room and talk about it. And responds, I am angry and I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. I'm sorry. We do need to discuss this lateness. Yes, let's go to the meeting room and have a private talk about this. So Anne moved to the...
Now, unfortunately, we don't live in a world where a lot of people reasonably move to the adult state just because you moved into the adult state. So it's probably not going to go as simple and as clean as she just made it seem. I mean, just keeping it, keeping it honest. They're probably going to continue a couple more attempts at trying to be your parent. That parent mode, they're probably going to stay there. Parent mode, I like that. Parent mode, child mode, and adult mode. That works.
To the adult position, which John had actually invited. Communication has now moved to a complementary transaction. So we can see that when a transaction is crossed, if one individual shifts ego states, then a complementary transaction can be established. Ulterior transactions. During an ulterior transaction, two messages are conveyed at the same time.
And I real like
one
this
of these is a social level message, and the other is a hidden or psychological message.
Now, Bree, this is something you were trying to tell me about a long time ago. This is something you were trying to tell me about a long time ago, and I didn't really get it. I got it after a while. We had a few conversations back and forth, but I finally get it, and this lady was talking about it.
Let's look at an example. What did you do with my shorts? I put them in your drawer. Now, just by looking at the words on the screen, you would say this is an adult-to-adult complementary transaction.
Makes perfect sense.
And it is at the social level. Let's rerun the same scene again, but this is what it actually sounded like. What did you do with my shorts? I put them in your drawer. The social level message is adult to adult, but the hidden psychological level is controlling parent to adapted child to controlling parent.
So that's something you were trying to, I know I did back that thing up. That's terrible. But that's something you're trying to get me to explain. Like, we'll use a lot of language and it'll seem very straightforward. I know they just said so-and-so, or they just did such and such. It's very straightforward. But Bruce was always trying to be like, nah, there's some shade there. There's some shade there. And there's like a shaded conversation of what the person is suggesting. But they're saying, like, they're putting themselves in that controller position, that adult mode. They're like, no, I'm kind of telling you how you should behave. And even though it seems straightforward, they didn't have the authority to kind of tell you how to behave or kind of infer how you should be responding. But there's a subtle inference to what they're saying. So what did you do with my shorts? They're your shorts. Why would I be doing anything with your shorts? So you're implying a level of control to say that I should have done something with your shorts. So there's a control thing there. But it's subtle. And it's not a 100%. It's not a 100%. Sometimes the other person did do something with the shorts and it's just a legit straight thing. But sometimes people will use language to code something else. And I know, I'll say, I guess guys probably, or concrete thinkers, it's harder for us to pick up the subtext on a lot of conversations that are like this.
With ulterior transactions, the social level message is often adult to adult.
Does Mary have a black eye?
Psychological level messages are usually either parent to child
because she touched her stuff.
Parent. You can see the social level stimulus and response as orange vectors, and the blue vectors illustrate the psychological level stimulus and response. According to Eric Byrne, the third rule of communication is the behavioral
How about you look for your
outcome of
shorts?
an ulterior transaction is determined at the psychological and not the social level. So when people communicate on two levels, what actually happens is always the outcome of the psychological message. So if you really want to understand behavior, then you must pay attention to the psychological level of communication, which means observing nonverbal cues, gestures, posture, facial expression, tone of voice, breathing, and muscle tension.
And I would say, even in conversation, I know y'all know this in real life. but somebody will say something, and I wish I could think of an example. They'll say something that seems simple, like, so what did you mean by that? Which sounds like a straightforward question. I guess that's on the social level. But on a psychological level, we all know that somebody's in trouble. Like, oh, what did you mean by that? And everybody's eyes go up, or that everybody do. That's that psychological level stuff. We all are aware of it. We feel it. We feel the energy of it. Like, it ain't a straightforward thing. I killed your shorts as an example to the other shorts. Ooh, that's a lot. Y'all ain't about to do that. But I'm saying we do it already, because there are things that we pick up on, but I think we have like practice on certain subtext, certain messages that are encoded, certain ones we've seen so many times and we're like, it's a cue. But there are ones that are more like, that are not as commonplace. I think we need like training, or like we need to see it, because concrete thinkers, we need the like repetition. We need reps at that kind of stuff. Make an example.
If you'd like to learn how to balance your ego states for better psychological health, please click on the video on the screen now. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, cool. So what did you guys think about that? That's the first part. We're going to move on to she builds on this concept. So the ego state was what we needed to understand first before we went further. But the ego state, the adult mode, the parent mode, and child mode. And again, parent mode is more of that more controlling, protecting. And that child mode is that more inquisitive, vulnerable. So those are like that get on my nerves. Those shorts will never be seen again. Man, y'all about to lose it over these shorts. I wish Mary would have never done anything with those shorts. Was it Greg? I wish he wouldn't have lost them. Oh, Greg, what did you do, buddy? What did you do? Oh, the other Greg, not Greg Bryant. Wasn't the other guy's name Greg too? I can't remember. I think he was Greg too. I hope. But them shorts, I know, man. Them shorts about to get everybody messed up. Transactional analysis. And I guess, again, since transactional wasn't the word I would use, it was interactional. Like instead of transactional interaction, I guess this would be like the analysis of interactions. So I guess that's a better word for it. And I do like mode instead of ego state. So parent mode, adult mode, child mode. That's the mode that your brain is on at any given time. Are you in a controlling, protective position? Or are you in a vulnerable, curious position? Or are you in like the adult, capable position? Those are like the three modes. Let me bring her back in. It's a little bit older video, but it's in the sequence. A lot of the concepts, she's going to go over them again, but it's worth repeating. It's a little bit shorter of a video.
In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the different parts of the personality as defined by Eric Berne. Eric Berne is a founder of transactional analysis, also known as TA, and he proposed individuals have three distinct personality parts known as parent, adult, and child. Now, we call these parts ego states, and each figures. And such parental figures may be grandparents, aunties, uncles, even teachers. So basically anyone that provided a parental influence. And when we copy these parent figures, we do so quite often unconsciously. So when you're behaving, thinking and feeling as you did when a child, you are said to be in the child ego state. And just like the parent ego state, this is usually an unconscious response. And when behaving, thinking and feeling in ways which are direct here and now response to events around us, using all of your abilities as a grown-up, you are said to be in the adult ego state.
Summer, good to see you.
Often in TA practice, we simply say,
listen, everybody, Wednesday, summer is here. June 21st, summer is officially here, but Summer Mince Pies is here right now. So, shout out to Summer, who is here now, but will also be here on Wednesday for everybody. I know that was corny.
We say that
don't subscribe.
Child,
don't unsubscribe.
I'm in my parent or I'm in my adult. So let's look at what the ego states look like in practice. So let's imagine that I'm driving my car.
Okay, so she's using the same
crowded
example.
traffic.
I'm gonna skip forward
I'm
a little bit because
observing
y'all heard
the
this
speed
example already.
limit, looking, actually moving in and out of our parent, adult, and
There was something different in here.
ability to move between the ego states as needed. The ego state model is actually developed further. So from this diagram, we can see both the parent and child ego states are divided and the adult ego state is not.
I wish I put a timestamp in my notes. My bad, y'all. My bad.
Starting with the parent ego state, we can see it has two parts. The controlling parent, which is frequently called the critical parent, and the nurturing parent. Now, when in positive controlling parent, the parental energy is genuinely aimed to provide safe boundaries.
Saw all that. There was something different in this one that I can't remember. Give me a second, y'all. My bad. Maybe I was wrong.
So before I cross,
there's something different. Okay.
Or society, busy road. So moving to the adapted child, this ego state responds on the basis of internalized social learning. So you are an adapted child when you behave in ways in which you conform to parental or societal standards.
So there's a layer of conformity to this one.
Rules we follow about how to live life and be accepted in a world. So before I cross the road, I look left and I look right, as my mother taught me. When my husband asks if I'd like a drink of tea, I say, please. So by replaying these rule-following patterns, we usually get what we want comfortably for ourselves and for other people.
And what she's talking about, man, I can't remember who said this, man, but they called about social lubricants, like social things that keep everything running smooth, keep conflict out of the thing. So there's a lot of things that she's talking about that are on the positive end of these three modes. The child and parent mode have positives. Adult is just completely positive. But it's about trying not to mess stuff up, trying not to violate, trying not to cross somebody's boundaries. A lot of this stuff is just about operating in society in a way that allows other people to operate as well, like emotionally safely. Isn't language itself conforming to social standards? Otherwise, how do we understand each other? There is a layer of conformity to using language, but there's also the ability to use language to obscure. So you could use the language to actually be disruptive, to be subversive, to cause chaos and discord. So you're conforming in one aspect on, I guess, the social level, as she said. On the social level, you can conform on a psychological level. You could actually be deviating. You could use the language to undermine the language itself, which is something that we would say is currently happening. People are taking words that have an understood meaning and trying to remove the meaning altogether. So they're using the conformity of understanding what the language means to remove the meaning of the very words in the language. So, things have multiple layers. That's important to understand.
So by contrast, we're said to be a negative adapted child when we replay childhood patterns of behavior that are no longer appropriate for our adult situation.
So I like the language on this adapted child side different because she phrased everything differently on this. So on the positive end, it's more conforming, pleasing, thank you, accommodating, mannerable, more like social pleasing, social graces. But on the negative end, it's things like over compliance, because we know people who are overly agreeable that go along with things they're more gullible. That can cause problems. People that fall for scams and people that fall for predation. People that are over fearful. I know Bree, I was watching something back the other day and it's talking about her. One of her pet peeves was mousy people. So fearful, anxiousness, that can cause problems. Rebelliousness and manipulativeness, all of those, and being socially unconstrained, all of those are negatives from the child mode.
But as a young person, you may not subdivided. We class any behaviors as
because most of this is a repeat, an exact repeat. I'm going to move on to the next video. My bad. I thought there was something different other than that 2 sentences. I really could have just typed that out. Don't know what I was doing there. My bad, people. My bad. But the next one is the script. We're going to go into the script now. We're going to head into the script. Share this tab instead. Bloop. What is the life script? Is the video. But this is what I was talking about when I shared that very sexy guy earlier and that clip from his channel. What was the name of the channel? Critically Drinking. Amazing guy. I love looking at, and yes, Greg, as you pointed out, I do hold him. I do hold that D when he's peeing. I mean, that's a sexy guy, man. That is a sexy guy. What's his name? Rashawn? I love some of him, boy. Woo.
In the school of psychotherapy called transactional analysis, or TA, the life script is an unconscious life plan made in early childhood. A key feature of the life script is that it's decisional. This means it's based on certain decisions that you made in early childhood about yourself, others, and the world around you.
Now, really quickly, how this ties into that ego state, because two of those states are formed in your childhood too. Your experiences with authority figures shapes that the parent mode. The parent mode is your incorporation of what you believe authority figures and how they operate, positively or negatively. And then the child mode is how you incorporate or embody how a child is supposed to operate, where you kind of like bullied into submission, where you're probably going to have an agreeable nature, people-pleasing nature in your adulthood. So that's how this kind of correlates to the life script, because all of those ways you're expected to be as a child, it starts to carry over who you think you are. Did they always call you stupid? Well, then you probably won't try a lot of smart things because people have told you you're stupid, and that becomes part of your script. But I'm going to let the expert talk more about it here.
For example, I'm unlovable. I will never be good enough. Other people are selfish.
You thought who was the psychiatrist you spoke of? Who?
Other people are better than me. Life has no meaning. Life is difficult. Let's look at an example of the life script in action. At the end of a long day at work, colleagues are saying goodbye to each other, but Joanne is
Before she gets in that, let's look at that list though real quick. Because these are some of the things that people can start to, we call it internalizing. Something I internalized. That you're unlovable. I will never be good enough. Those are things you can internalize. And there's obviously others that you can think of. That's how you feel about yourself. Those are life script decisions that you can be informed of yourself. Oh, okay. Got you. Then you can make life script decisions about other people. Other people are selfish. Men are this way. Women are this way. Black people, white people, Asian people. You can make all kinds of things based upon what you internalized from what you heard growing up, how you were taught, what you saw, what you experienced, what other people told you they experienced. And then your life script decisions about the world, about life at large. Life has no meaning. Life is difficult. There's no reason to travel. You don't want to stay at, anybody stays at home is a loser. You can internalize all kinds of scripts and ideas that were not your own, because everything you have, you learn from somebody else. You learn from somewhere else. You might have started to synthesize various things, but all the inputs came from outside of yourself, including your language.
Let's look at an example of the life script in action. At the end of a long day at work, colleagues are saying goodbye to each other, but Joanne is momentarily ignored. Quite unconsciously, Joanne then gets in touch with her beliefs about not belonging and feeling rejected. She then feels anxious and tearful and rushes home without speaking to anybody. As she walks away, she remembers events at school when other children hid from her in the playground. And so the feedback loop closes and reinforces Joanne's script beliefs about not belonging and being rejected. Joanne's life script has a deep and unconscious effect on how she lives her life as an adult. Her script affects the decisions she makes, how she sees herself, how she behaves, and how she sees others. How does your life script develop?
Real quick, another way to see that. Somebody, basically, what that she gave a simple example of was an abandonment issue. People hid from her. More deeply rooted is if a parent is not there. If a parent chooses to not be a part of your life, a lot of people end up with abandonment issues. Somebody left me. You internalize that as I'm not worthy, or I don't have value, or something else is more important, or second family, all kinds of different things. Everybody forms their own script. But how that plays out in your life is that people can trigger that sense of abandonment. And like they talked about with the things, there's positive and negative aspects if you're in your child or adult. The positive may be because of that fear of abandonment. You saw that one recently? It happens. The fear of abandonment, it happens. It's a real thing. And especially with a lot of us having single parent households, not having that father to say like both parents love and want to take care of us. And maybe we see other people with two parents. It does something. It tells you, it informs you that something else was more important. Or some people blame themselves for their parents' divorces. But then you end up a lot of times with a trigger that if somebody walks away from you, then you'll like kind of pursue them. You'll try to validate your worth to them. You'll try to prove yourself. Look, I'm valuable. Come see me. Choose me. And a lot of people are easily triggered by that have been abandoned. It happens a lot in relationships. A lot of people play the game of withdrawing their affection or attention to make you pursue them, to make you try to win them over. So that's a ploy that you can use psychologically to mess with people that have abandonment issues. Because some people will completely flip the script. They'll chase you because you were willing to walk away. They want to prove yourself, and they're playing the script of trying. I want my daddy to choose me. I want my mom to choose me. They'll take that to their adult relationships. I want you to choose me, but I see you walking away, so I'm going to chase you even harder. I'm going to prove myself. I'm worthy. I need to prove that to myself, because they're working on that script from childhood. And it's hard to overcome of your own without any outside help. Probably not going to happen. When I was younger, the two-parent homes were horrible. The stories of abuse and etc. And that could be the thing too. Not just abandonment. There's also things that come from neglect. There's also things that come from abuse. There's all kinds of different things that impart lessons to you as a child that you internalize. And the way you interpret those lessons, those lived lessons, that's going to shape the decisions you make. Like, I can't trust women. I can't trust men. Oh, no, if I don't trust dogs. It could be anything. It does not have to be something as heavy as abandonment issues. It could be something as simple as, I never eat this one food because I remember that time my grandma got sick and everybody was around her in the hospital. It could be anything. It could literally be anything, but you internalize it and make it something that's a sticking point. You always remember it and you can never move on from it. This is where I jump ship. I fit every description listed so far, but I'm pretty great. Greg, you are great. You actually should take that last G off of Greg and just put AT on there. And just be Great Bryant. Just be Great Bryant. I know some kids whose mother abandoned them. It broke them a little. Boy told everyone he loved them. A girl wouldn't let anyone else care for her brother. Hard to see. Yeah. A lot of times with the abandonment issues, there's a clinginess. There's a neediness. But I mean, there's a lot of little life lessons that turn into scripts. And you play out those patterns over the course of your life. Some are big, some are small.
From your earliest days, you receive verbal and non-verbal messages from your parents, caregivers, or significant people in your life. From these messages, you form conclusions about yourself, others, and the world.
Moment of vulnerability. Moment of vulnerability. So how this applies to me. I know I did not receive a lot of validation when I was younger. I did not receive a lot of attention and validation. Not a lot of people confirmed my worth, which is one of the reasons I have anybody that's talked to me for any length of time knows I kind of have a dual script. Like there's one side of me that knows I'm completely amazing. Like there's God and then there's Rashawn, or vice versa. I'm not sure. But then there's another side of me that's completely like insecure, and I'm not sure people would listen to me, not sure people would believe me. There's a very doubtful side. Anybody that's like talked to me extensively kind of knows that I have this really completely full of himself side and this other side that nobody can kind of lift up to make him believe in himself. So I have dual scripts and they conflict, and I have arguments within my own mind all of the time. So that's how that plays out in my head. How I got that self-aggrandized side, I'm not really sure. I don't know how I got so polar opposite sides. Maybe one comes with the other. I can't say. Let me see. That's why it's important not to consume a lot of negativity mentally and verbally. Remove yourself from the situation and possible facts, because it does affect you. It does affect you. And I'm going to tell you, again, another moment of vulnerability. Because, what's up, Mandrill? What is up? Another moment of vulnerability. Because even the content stuff, people act like they don't care. They say I don't care a lot. Everybody uses the word I don't care a lot. there are things that don't affect my personal life, but they do affect me, like the way I think about stuff. I had listened to so many different women over. I don't even know why I was doing it. I was listening to so many different women talk about men in a negative way, and I was like, my God. And I was listening, and I went to the chat in a hostile space, and I was asking them a question, and I was like, y'all really think this stuff? But it was so like, wow, it was so heavy. I was like, you know what? I'm about to trash women. I'm gonna come at them the same way they coming at us. And I was like, you know what? I've been affected. It made me want to do something different, even with my streaming. So we can all get affected in small ways. And it doesn't even take a lot of time. It didn't take a lot of time. I have my feelings that I already came with. I came preloaded with a lot of preconceived notions. But some stuff can shift you. Some stuff can just move you if you're not emotionally rooted in what you think and feel. My disagreement is the finality she assigns the script. She treats it like a certainty. Actually, no. Maybe it's because I haven't played it through to completion, because her job is to help people move off the scripts and to change it. So it may be how she said it. But her job, her actual function is to help people remove the scripting, to change the scripting, to put a new script in there. So I probably just need to let it play further. I don't doubt it has an effect, but some self-examination will clear that right up. Yeah. That's why I had to cut out the BS. I was like, and the local news, oh my God, listen. The local news, when I was in the habit of watching the local news every day, that was one of the most down times of my life. Watching the local news every day. I didn't even notice it. I was trying to stay informed to know what else was going on in my city. But after about 6 months of that, I was so pessimistic. Oh my God. Whew. But it was all of the murder and the home invasions day after day after day. And I didn't even, I promise you, I wasn't even paying attention. I'm just trying to catch like some other stuff going on in the city. But they make you sit through all the murders and mayhem first. And now for weather.
By the time you're 4 years old, you unconsciously decided the essential plot line of your life script. At 7 years old, the main details have been completed, and by the time you're about 12, you've
Thank you, Godless Sewing, and hello, Godless Sewing. Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much. The world news will have you depressed. That's why you're not on YouTube anymore. Positive and spiritual content. I get that. And you quit watching local news because they only show the worst. My saying, oh, it got so bad. It got so bad. But let me go back. What I was trying to say was this right here. We were watching this show called 7 Up series. It's from the UK. And they follow some people every 7 years. In their life. They started at age 7 and they followed them into their 60s. Every 7 years, they would check in with them and like kind of see how their life had progressed. By age 7, like they call them the formative years. By age 7, a lot of your personality type, your dispositions, a lot of that's been coded through your experiences, through your upbringing, through your genetics, through your environment. A lot of stuff has been coded by that time. At 7 years old, the main details have been completed. By the time you're about 12, you have refined your story. By the time you're a teenager, man, you're locked into a lot of things. Not that you can't change. Not that you can't change and evolve over time. But a lot of stuff in your script about who you think of yourself as, how you think the world is, a lot of that stuff starts to get locked in your teenager. By the time you're a teenager, a lot of stuff is locked in. Then typically what happens for most people, what this doesn't say, it's not going to, by the 20s, all that stuff kind of gets shifted anyway. You go through something shakes you typically in your 20s. Most people have some kind of drastic experience. It might be college, something that kind of opens your life up to like eyes up to the world. Like, wow, I didn't know anything. There's typically another shift in your 20s. And there's more shifts, but this is talking about the formative ones.
You've refined your story. And remember, young children don't think like an adult. So script decisions are made on the basis of a child's special way of thinking and feeling. It developed from your child ego state. For this reason, script decisions usually appear illogical and overgeneralized. The good news is that you can move to a position of being script-free and autonomous. Eric Byrne, the founder of TA,
There you go, Greg.
describes such a person as a real person. So what Byrne means is autonomously.
Greg, you might be a real person. Greg, oh my God, that's amazing. Somebody that can be script-free. You're a real person, according to this. Now, do you believe in it? Do you believe it has value now, Greg? It agrees with you. You probably don't have the scripts.
Responding to the
I'm a
here
real
and
boy.
now reality. Being script-free also means you function from the life position of I'm okay, you're okay.
Oh,
Have a
shoot.
video on life positions.
Now, we're going to go over the life positions in a minute too, but I've been finding a lot of these quadrants. I've been finding a lot of these grids that apply to a lot of different domains of life. It's very interesting to me. I got about 20 of them amassed, like 20 different quadrants like this that kind of speak to how we move in and out of states. But I like this one because if you're, as we look at this, you'll be able
And
to.
the link is in the description.
My bad. You'll be able to notice who's who from this. Where their Bree calls it a worldview. Somebody else might call it what informs their perspective. You can kind of see people's perspectives on things, on people in this quadrant. The healthy position, and if we were to talk about attachment styles, I'm okay, you're okay, is the healthy attachment. But they call it here healthy position. I'm okay, you're okay, we're all okay. Let's figure stuff out. That's the healthy position. Below that is the I'm okay with me, but it says you are not okay with me. So I'm okay, you're not okay. So that's like I'm better than. I have something up on you. You're other, you're different. There's that position. This one over here on the top left, I'm not okay, but you're okay. That's typically like the I would say the person like the social media. You start looking down on yourself. You're not thin enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not rich enough. But everybody else is. The comparison, like that's like the comparison zone. That quadrant, that top left, that's like the comparative zone where you're comparing yourself to other people and you're always deficient. And this other one, I guess the one I said first, I'm okay, but you're not okay. That's the flip side of the comparative zone. I'm okay, but you're not. Everybody's beneath me. Other ones, everybody's above me. Then this one, this is the hopeless position. They call it hopeless. I'm not okay. You're not okay. Nobody's okay. Everybody's trash, including myself. That's kind of nihilistic, but that's what they call the hopeless position. I got another chart, because I want to overlap this with the attachment styles because there are 4 of those as well. And I believe that these match up to the attachment styles. We've got the healthy one here. I'm okay. You're okay. But I think like the anxious, the avoidant, and then there's another one. I bet you these will line up perfectly. Because I'm finding a lot of quadrants. And I'm going to go. I have a whole stream I want to dedicate to going over these quadrants and how they kind of align. How they kind of maps, plotting. I need Nova with graphs. I'm going to need Nova. But I know he's probably not off work yet.
Description below this video. How to discover your core script beliefs. The following questions will help you to capture your script beliefs. Feel free to pause the video at any point. When you feel really terrible, what do you internally say about yourself? When you feel like that, what are your views about other people? When you're feeling bad, how do you view life in general?
Oops, I was trying to pause it right before she moved off of it. All right, so these are questions to investigate yourself and what your script is. The next time you're feeling an emotional response, like you feel negatively, you're angry, you're sad, like a negative response. When you're feeling those things, what do you typically say to yourself about yourself? What do you say to yourself about other people? And what do you say to yourself about life or the world when these things happen? When you say like, life is terrible. Well, man, I can't stand people. I know I can't stand people is one of my go-tos. I can't stand people. That's one of my go-tos. I can't stand kids. I can't stand old people. I can't stand. That's my language. About myself, Trying to think about myself. I don't know what language I use, but I know it typically comes with the feeling of I won't or can't. Like an I won't or I can't. About life in general, I'll feel like pointless. That's what I go to. I'll view like if I'm feeling bad, I typically view life as pointless. But the language on the first one, what do I turn to say? I don't know if I address myself when I'm feeling my worst. But I would say that all of these are questions that you should ask yourself to kind of develop what kind of scripting that you use. What do you think about yourself, about others, and about the world and life? Again, when you're at your worst, because you know, like a lot of times when people get angry, I know they say like a drunk tongue speaks a sober truth, but also an angry one. An angry tongue will let some stuff loose. That's the absolute truth. So even when you're feeling vulnerable through anger or sadness, a lot of the truth will come out. How you feel about a lot of things. So, and it's worth investigating those scripts, those patterns of behavior, because that does inform your decisions. That does inform your decisions.
How do you view life in general? These questions will give you a snapshot into the dynamics of your core script beliefs. For example, Jason's parents were emotionally abusive, and he has been depressed most of his adult life. His answers to the questions were, I won't start things as I will only mess them up. Other people are better than me. Life is pointless, meaningless, and hopeless. These beliefs cause Jason to withdraw from others and avoid activities, which in turn strengthens.
You know, that actually gave me what I say to myself for myself. I'm probably going to quit. I'm probably going to quit. That's what I say.
His life script. How do you discover your life script?
And y'all have heard me talk about quitting so many times. That's a part of my script. Quitting is a part of my script. So that's something I have to work on.
Dreams, fantasies, fairy tales, and childhood stories can also give you clues to your script. I'm now going to share an exercise with you. When you are completing the exercise, let your imagination.
Alonzo Hall, the all-star advisor, is in the building. Now listen, y'all. Y'all need to go watch as much of his content before he starts taking it down. Because this man said, listen, I'm out here making this money now. Y'all can talk to my underlings. I appreciated seeing that post so much, Alonzo. I was like, oh my gosh. He was like, listen, I tried to tell y'all. And I tried to tell y'all for free. Now it's going to cost you. I was like, was it yesterday's price? It's not today's price. Man, salute to Alonzo Hall, the all-star advisor, who's been dropping a lot of free game, especially as far as the finance and the insurance sector. I know I dragged my feet so long that I know I done blew my window of opportunity on getting some free insurance. So you better check his YouTube before you start pulling down some, great, valuable information. I just do not move fast enough on doing some stuff I need to do. So man, go check out Alonzo Hall, because he gives a lot of good information. Stuff I never even heard from insurance agents before. Does that help you deal with it or run away from it? No, the scripting for me is bad. This is negative scripting for me. So I'm telling you, I'll tell you, my community, the people who've been around me have kind of helped me. So this is my scripting is I'm probably going to quit. It gives me the out of removing some of the guilt of quitting because I said it up front. So it's kind of like how they'll say, like a guy or a girl will say, I don't want anything serious. Then they'll start doing a lot of serious things. They'll operate as if they're a couple. They'll do a lot of together things, but then they're like, when the other person's like, okay, why, what are we now? Where are we going with this? Is this something that we're going to be doing in the future? Nah, I told you I didn't want anything serious. So I myself, as a person, I preload in a lot of that out. I preload the out. I'm non-committal. I've been called out for being non-committal, being a commitment phobic. So having that script of I'm going to quit informs my decisions to always be non-committal. You know what? I might back out, or I might not be able to do it, or I'll do it for a short period of time, or I'll do one and see how it is. It informs me. It informs my decisions and makes me always choose non-committal routes. I never settle in. So that's kind of my modus operandi. That's my mode of operation. So then what I've had to do, because like I said, there's the new crew of people around me who are trying to call me to be better. I'll say Candid Ann, Yella, Kawhi Bree, Inya, Prelude the Out, that's me, and Tristan and Nova. I would say for sure that's the group who has been the most encouraging and persistent about telling me not to follow that script, and that I can do better than what I'm telling myself I can do. So one of the only reasons I'm still here is because of those individuals continuing to drive home the point that quitting, although it is an option, it would be not only selling myself short, it would be selling short my potential, what I could do. So, I mean, I'm thankful for them to have them, because it speaks to a voice that I probably lacked as a child, and I can tell because I'm feeling emotional. So there's something there. There's something to this. There's something that I did not get as a child that those people speak to affirm the child voice, the child mode. Man, ooh. When you are non-committal, do you do that because you just not really into it? No. There'll be stuff I'll be into. There'll be stuff I'll be into, but there may be an aspect of it. And I'll tell you the aspect. I like self-snitching. I self-snitch all the time. It be the work. It be the work. The detail, the monotonous, the routine, the everyday labor of it. That's what drives me away. That's what I don't want to commit to that. I don't want to dust the floorboards. Like, I don't want to dust the floor. I don't want to dust that, what's that, the trim, the panel I don't want to dust that. I don't want to do that boring little small stuff that's necessary. I don't want to do that. I hate it. So that's what I have to work on. And I'm trying to embrace some of the challenge of not quitting, committing over quitting. I'm trying to commit as best I can, because I found a place of value within myself through sharing myself, if that makes sense. Exposing parts of myself in a positive way. I see life as an unending series of tragedies. You just wake up and deal with the next one. You can't quit or Jesus will call you a pussy. I mean, that's exactly what I read. I think that was in Ephesians. Thank y'all. So glad you allowed them to pour into. Yeah, it's been great. And not to discount anybody else. A lot of people have poured into me in the internet space. I'm not. Quantum, I'm not. I'm so not. Like, even Sim Simma's been on me about doing the clips and the shorts and the monotony of doing the work. And I even told, like, being transparent and honest again, I just told Candid Ann last week that I was supposed to be getting something over to Danique. I think I was going to check with Danique about doing these clips. I'm just now today going through my videos to find out which one I actually did the timestamp on. I just did that today. I told her I was going to do that last week. So he doesn't even have the videos, because I just identified them today. So I couldn't even send them to him. So the work of doing the work part, that's the hard part. That's the hard part. Emphasis on positivity. Positivity. Absolutely. That is when you get those who like that stuff to do that. You don't want to commit to that stuff. Don't want to do. Excuse me. I'm with you. But I have to. There's work to delegating. There's a component of work to even delegating, because they have to be people that are capable, and you got to vet that. You got to make sure that they know what they're doing before you trust your work to them. You've got to oversee. You've got to verify. There's components of work even to delegation, because people who just blindly delegate, just give anything to anybody, that means they don't even value what they're doing. So I don't just blindly give stuff to people, but I do intend on following through on my word. It's just a little slower than usual. So I do plan on reaching out to Danique to see about. I don't see how busy he is, to see if he can do some clips for me. So we'll see. And then I was talking about. Poured into, oh Lord, and poured into some trim. See, Greg. We're good. Hey, thank you, M Mills. I appreciate that. Appreciate Appreciate
You shouldn't run free. Try not to analyze why I'm asking a particular question. Suspend judgment and don't say.
Oh my God. Now, this is the hard part too. From somebody that's actually worked through this, like who's done this introspection, woo, this was hard. Because you're going to want to judge yourself. So if you haven't done the work of trying to figure out why you do the things you do, you just do them. You might just be a doer. You're inclined to do. You might be very conscientious. You just get to work. Something needs to be done, you do it. But if you're somebody who gets paralyzed by emotion, fear, sadness, guilt, shame, this stuff is for you. Like, this is for you. If you're one of those people, this is for you. Because that's me. This stuff helped me. It may help you just differently. So if you're one of those people, I used to say this a lot more, but you got to fug yourself, right? You got faults, but you got to fug yourself. Forgive yourself, understand yourself, and give grace. Forgive, understand, and give grace. So where it says suspend judgment and don't censor your response, hold off on judging yourself. Like, I'll say stuff like, this says to me that I'm a quitter, or that I'm lazy, or that I'm insufficient. Like, don't judge yourself. When you're actually doing this, try to get to the information, the informational piece of it, and write that stuff down. So try not to analyze like why you're asking certain questions when you're going through this stuff. That's what she's talking about. Like, try not to judge yourself too harshly. Just get to the information. That way you can start working through some of the stuff, and you can feel about it. You're going to need a space where you can sit and feel. You're going to need to feel how you feel, whether that's sad or like, man, I feel like I let myself down. You're going to need a space to just feel. You're going to need that. You don't want to live in that, but you're going to need a space. I've been slacking on the reaching out part as well. I'm here. Man, appreciate you, Danny. Appreciate you. And you reached out. You reached out to me a long time ago and told me to reach out to you about that. So that's all on me. I got to take that. I got to take that full blast, because you reaching out to me through a messenger. You hit me a few times, and I never followed through and I never got the clips together. Man, I don't like doing the work part of it, but I am working towards being better at all these things. I'm just not there yet. I'm just sharing with you the things that helped me get to the point where I'm starting to do the work. I was so far behind that I had to get to the point where I was even willing to look at doing the work. That's where I'm at now. People with vaginas do not understand the struggle people without them have getting others to do things for them. That's true. That's true, man. Man, people don't just do stuff for me because I'm pretty. But maybe they will. Maybe now that I'm on the internet, maybe I keep flashing his face and people start throwing, free drinks my way or something, you know. You are a villain, but I bet you make doe eyes and your voice gets real high when you want. Yeah, you know it. A low, soft. Oh, she does the soft. Yes, Greg Bryan. Yep.
Censor your response. Step 1. Choose your favorite childhood fairy tale. For example, you might begin, once upon a time, there was a beautiful girl who was sent to sleep for a very long time at the hands of her evil stepmother. She lay in a room deep inside an old castle, and around the castle was a large prickly hedge. Kings and princes came looking for the girl, but none of them were strong enough to chop through the hedge. Now you can see where I'm going with this. Step 2. To get even more from the exercise, become each of the people or things in your story.
I have not done this exercise. I've never done this exercise, but I also don't have a hard time trying to put myself in different people's position and shoes and perspectives. I don't have a hard time with that. But if you have a hard time trying to see different people's positions, if you're always finding yourself saying like, why would somebody do something like that? Why would they do that? Why would they think that? Why would they say that? If you use those phrases quite a bit, this might be an exercise that would help you be more, I guess, like empathetic or something, like, or to stretch your perspective to other people, other positions. It's very helpful sometimes. If you're somebody that needs understanding, like why are people doing this kind of stuff, this kind of exercise will help. Don't go in the woods or you will fucking die. Okay. I get it. I love the way you phrase it. I don't even know why. High-pitched voice is not how shit gets done. That is usually when a motherfucker is lying. Quantum, you're right. You are so right. You are so right. Excuse me. Sorry. Choose your favorite childhood fairy tale. Become each of the people or things in your story. I think she's getting ready to explain it a little more. This one was a little more far-fetched for me. I think she even said something about becoming a rock. Like, I don't know about that one. I want to believe in it, but I don't know about what do you do? What do you do when you're like pretending to be a rock? I don't know what that's like. How do you embody a rock?
Story. So using my example, you could choose to be the girl, the stepmother, the room, the castle, one of the princes, or the hedge. As a hedge, you might say, I'm a hedge. I'm sturdy, rough, and prickly. All my thorns point outwards, so people can't push me around. My job is to protect that young girl asleep inside me. So let me know how.
Okay, hold on, man. Hold on, because I got to try it. I've never tried this. And this might be stupid, and it probably does not make for good streaming content. Forgive me. I said a rock, so I'm going to stick with the rock. Hey, now I don't like the way that sounds. He said do Hansel and Gretel. Okay, so we got Hansel and Gretel. They went through the forest. They met a witch, but they followed the breadcrumbs, and it was a gingerbread house, right? That's Hansel and Gretel? Cool. They pushed the witch in the oven. Okay. So I'm going to be the gingerbread house. All right. I'm going to be the gingerbread house. I'm magical because I'm from a witch's spell. A witch made me. I'm sweet. I'm super sweet. I'm so sweet. I'm gumdrop syrupy sweet. Oh, but I've got that gingerbread tartness. You know, that little bite from ginger. Oh, but I'm delicious. But I've got lots of room. I'm very roomy. I'm spacious. Oh, yes, I am very spacious. But I'm dark. There's some sinister things going on in here. Oh, okay. I don't know. I kind of like that. I don't even know why. I'm weird though. I'm very weird. Ignore me, y'all. See, they went in the woods. The German ending is different. Didn't they get eaten in the German ending? They didn't knock the witch into the stove. I think the witch actually ate them, didn't they? Deceptive. Yeah, I'm not what I seem. I am not what I seem. I look like your run-of-the-mill baby-face red pill podcaster, but what I am is a dime. I'm a dime. Oh my God. Matter of fact, hold on, because maybe y'all need to be remembered. Maybe y'all need to be reminded.
Can you do a Venti men's selection flowchart? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay. I'll give you guys my flowchart for dating, for selecting men. Are they Sean? If yes, then date. If no, then don't date. Very simple chart.
It is.
There you go. I hope that suffices.
It does, Brittany. It does suffice, man. I think they all get the idea. Oh, G Patrice is in the building. Hello, salute to you, salute. I know. There's my dear mother. Greetings. If they only knew you. Right. I don't know if you heard the gingerbread house part. But I think that was a pretty good. That was a good representation. That was a pretty good representation. So let me see. I have a different viewpoint due to the women I've grown up observing. That's quantum. Ooh. Let's get back to the video. Give me a sec.
How you get on in the comment section below. Now, if you want to take what you have learned to the next level, please.
We were done. I didn't even know I was done. I went back to it for nothing. But let's move. You liked it? Okay, so listen, everybody in the chat, including you, mother. Pick what is first, put your story. Like mine's with Hansel and Gretel. Bree gave me Hansel and Gretel. pick a story and then assign yourself some non-human entity from the story. And it doesn't even have to be a fairy tale. Maybe you didn't grow up hearing fairy tales. Maybe you didn't read them. Pick something from a comic book. Pick something from a movie. But then when you're identifying, when you're thinking about the characters, like pick something like, was it a room? Was it a chair? Was it a table? Pick a car, something that, people will recognize, like the car from Knight Rider. And then give yourself, what properties do you have? Like I did with the gingerbread house. So everybody in the chat, pick some story. Mine was Hansel and Gretel. And I chose to be the gingerbread house. And then I gave what my properties were as a gingerbread house. So everybody, if you would take a moment to do that. We got Dan Eek in the building with the Cash App. We already got the Umar earlier, but man, we're going to do I think that calls for some shots.
Shots round the table, celebrations for my label. These are my four brothers, ain't no room for no haters, no. I think I need a shot, dog. I got some haters, I really need a shot, dog. I got some haters, Tonight I'm going drinking till my liquor gone. Tonight I'm going drinking till my liquor gone. I think I need a shot, dog. I got some haters, I really need a shot, dog. I got some haters, Tonight I'm going drinking till my liquor gone. Tonight I'm going drinking till my liquor gone.
And thanks again, Tanny Anthony, for the Cash App. Definitely appreciate you and all your support. And I pulled 3 videos out that I have timestamps on. So I did the first part of the legwork, identifying the videos that I wanted clips of. So I'll reach out to you, find out what your time looks like, your timetable. So I'll reach out and I'm gonna do a little bit better. I gotta keep improving. Steady improvement is what I've been doing. Avatar, the Tree of Souls, Grimm's Fairy Tale version of Cinderella. Okay. 3 Little Pigs. I'm the house made from brick, or at least I try to be. Okay, let me start these because, okay, y'all all naming what you are in the item, which story in the item. Great. Now I need to know what your properties are. So for Bree, the Grimm's Fairy Tale version of Cinderella. What are you in that, and what properties do you have? Here's Tribe, you're the 3 Little Pigs, brick house. So tell me about yourself as the brick house. What does that mean? Your house made of brick. What does that mean? Avatar, the Tree of Souls. Tell me, if you're the Tree of Souls, what properties do you have as the Tree of Souls? What do you do as the Tree of Souls? Who and what are you in the Little Red Hen, Inya? And then what do you do? Oh, Kawaii Breeze, the glass slipper. Okay. So if you're the glass slipper, okay, you're magical as fuck, rare as fuck, specific as fuck, delicate as fuck. The key to wealth. I like it. Here, try brick house. He's strong, he's protective, and he's trustworthy. He does not fold. That's what's up. Beauty and the Beast. Oh, you're both the Beauty and the Beast. Okay, Jesus Christ, Kwanzaa. Okay. If you're both the Beauty and the Beast, what properties do you have as the Beauty, and what properties do you have as the Beast? I'm the Red Hen and I do everything. Oh, you do all the work. Oh, you gotta knead the dough. You gotta. Oh my gosh, you gotta do everything. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's perfect. Yeah, that is so you. Oh, that is so you. I love it. Man, we got Cash App from the Harris Tribe Media Group. Thank you for the love and the support. Appreciate you. Let me hit.
She said the nigga so got Cash App. Cash App. She don't make a move without Cash App. Cash App. Send that money over to her ass app.
Man, appreciate you, and appreciate you, Mr. He Said. Appreciate you, Mr. She Said. Appreciate the whole Harris Tribe and everything that you're doing over there. And again, Mr. He Said will be over here next Tuesday, the 27th at, I want to say 7 or 8 p.m. I got to double check the time. But in the evening, I want to say it was 7 p.m., but you'll see a thumbnail before the week is up. So look out for that conversation. I take from the lessons, spirits of the past. I keep growing. I'm green and light up. Oh, I like it. Ooh. She holding herself captive. Ooh, she's holding herself captive. Ooh. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm the oven in Hansel and Gretel. I am warm and toasty. I can be cold or hot. Okay. Okay. But do you burn witches? Do you burn witches? I don't know why I muted right before I started talking. That was kind of weird. I'm going to pull in, right, F them kids, because the oven be cooking. Okay, the cloak of Doctor Strange. Versatile, magical, able to move people away from harm when they least expect it, and can make people say, okay. Nice. Okay, I like it. I like that exercise. I don't even know. I was doubting it at first, but I like it. I don't even know why. It's probably because of the creativity of it. I was sitting there looking like, I don't know if I trust this exercise, but I like it. That was actually enjoyable. Beauty on the inside, straight beastly on the outside with a hard shell. And I would throw a motherfucker in the dungeon until my heart softens up and I let him out. Okay, Quantum. Okay, it's aggressive. Aggressive. Okay, all right, man. I think you might need to let yourself out. Let yourself out on the weekends at least. Because, see, Greg saw the same thing. Greg saw what I saw. Now you're just describing your weekend. Yeah, Greg saw what I saw. Okay, Greg, listen. I appreciate y'all. We are going to continue that. So we went through the 3 ego modes, the parent, the adult, the child. Then how it plays into the stories that you tell yourself. Because how you adapt those childhood models, those parent models, they do inform the story that you tell yourself. So we're going to keep building on that a little bit more. Kids and Aunt got some chores. Appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you for being here listening. And we are getting to, what is this called? It says, which one are you? But there's got to be a better title for that. It doesn't matter. Let's just check it out.
Are you one of those people that have to please others? Or maybe you need everything to be perfect? In the school of psychotherapy called transactional analysis, or TA, we call these aspects of your personality drivers. In this video, I'll explore the 5 personality drivers, explain how they develop, why they hinder autonomy, and how to step out of them. Let's start with the perfect driver.
Give me a second. This is an absolutely beautiful moment here that I need to step away for like 2 minutes. And I was going to move myself off the screen and let the video play. But this is a song that Brother Von Eric did send to me from his nephew that I have added as a water break. I'm going to take a quick water break. Everybody take a little quick 2-minute refresher. Pause here while I get this queued up here. And I'll be back in just a couple of shakes of a lamb's tail.
We appreciate your patience and want to thank you for waiting. We should be returning any moment now. In the meantime, like the video and make sure notifications are on, because Rashawn is impatient and does not like to keep people waiting. So see you soon.
I guess it's only one thing that'll catch my eye, but as soon as I try, something by my side. In a way I feel this moment's phony. Claim I feel I'm always lonely. Not the best step forward, but the one you show me. Like the next test, or be the right one for me. Is it rude if I say that you felt odd? Why did you leave all my hopes being passed by? It's only one thing that'll catch my eye, but as soon as I try, something by my side. In a way I feel this moment's phony. Lame, I feel I'm always lonely. Not the best step forward, but the one you show me. Like the next test, or be the right one for me. Is it rude if I say that you felt odd? Why did you leave all my hopes being passed by? Pessimistic cause the half glass couldn't hold me. When you run it back, I can't forget what teacher told me. Time is not a fact, it's only know that cause you sold me. It's gonna fold me, not console me and control me. You really roll me, I compose me for the homies. So will it mold me or disown me? Is he cold? Yeah, give him 50 cents, so just imagine if you owe me. I can I repent now when I wish him to the old me? If I go again, is it proof in the box? I probably wouldn't be this slow if I knew how to stop. Yo, I can reach the shit from home if it's smooth on the rocks. So goose for the shots. I had to know it grew out the notch. Just take me away. I had to know it wasn't no way for loving the same. I had to see the riff in the game. A tragedy, a masterpiece is there, aloof for the name. From swinging feet to energies, and now there's room for the pain. There's only one thing that'll catch my eye, but as soon as I try, something bonds my side. In a way, I feel this moment's phony. Claim I feel I'm always lonely. Not the best thing for it, but
Man, appreciate Brother Von there. Man, some good. He sent me some good tunes. I gotta clip up some more stuff, but I'm enjoying what I'm getting so far. Real quick, again, shout out to Harris Tribe and Danique for the cash apps. Definitely appreciate the love and the support of the channel. Also, I forgot to tell everybody I wore red because red's supposed to be a color for Juneteenth. Let me go back a little bit. She's talking about drivers. Just a recap, she's talking about transactional analysis. A better word for transaction would be interaction because they're talking about the interaction between two people. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to start that again.
TA. We call these aspects of your personality drivers. In this video, I'll explore the 5 personality drivers, explain how they develop, why they hinder autonomy, and how to step out of them. Let's start with the Be Perfect driver. It's always helpful to look at an example, so we'll look at Lucy. She's a chartered accountant, arrives to work early every day, is immaculately presented at all times, and sets very high standards for herself. As an accountant, Lucy is in high demand as she has a reputation for producing accurate work, set to high standards, and never misses a deadline. It sounds like the Be Perfect driver is great, but it's not. Lucy is overcritical towards her co-workers. She is tense, exhausted, and struggles with boundaries.
Now, I don't know if she's getting ready to go into this or not, but where this is a carryover from the last video, the script that you tell yourself. So she probably has some need to prove herself to somebody in her mind. Might have had a hypercritical mother or father in her mind. She's got to prove that she's good or gifted or great or as good as her brother or sister, blah, blah, blah. There's some scripting that's driving, like they're calling this drivers. There's some script that's driving this behavior.
Lucy's Be Perfect driver is rooted in her childhood experiences. Her parents were very critical of her performance and demanded perfection, perfect speech, perfect appearance, and perfect grades. Her Be Perfect driver comes from internalizing the parental message, "You're only okay here if you get everything right." This parental message informs Lucy what she should and should not do to feel okay. To step out of her Be Perfect driver, Lucy needs to play a new message in her head. I'm okay as I am. Now that's easier said than done because drivers are deeply rooted behaviours that usually operate out of awareness. So a starting point for Lucy would be to gain an awareness of her problematic thoughts, feelings, and behaviours.
And real quick, that goes back to that last video where they talked about when you're feeling negative, and I said angry or sad, when you're feeling those negative emotions, asking yourself those questions. What do I say about myself? What do I think about myself? What do I think about others? And what do I think about the world? So when you're having those drivers and they're driving you to negative outcomes or negative emotions, question yourself. Wait, what? That's nuts. Not doing a good job. The negative feelings behind it, because she has a problem with feeling like everything has to be perfect. So because you're never going to be perfect, she never feels satisfied or content with what she's done. Nothing's ever going to be good enough. That's actually an unbalanced state. Nothing you do is good. That's not healthy.
Once she is conscious that her Be Perfect driver is running in the background, she can choose to ignore it and ultimately replace it with the message, I'm okay as I am. The Please Others driver. Mark manages a small care home for the elderly. Residents and staff think highly of him as he is very empathic, tolerant, and flexible. On his daily rounds of the care home, he talks to all residents and staff to check they are happy and have no issues. On the downside, Mark likes to gain the approval of others and doesn't challenge anyone, even if they break the care home rules. Mark never says no, allows people to interrupt him, and lacks assertiveness. Mark's please others driver is rooted in his early experiences. The parental message he received was, "You're only okay here if you please other people." To reclaim his autonomy, it's really important he breaks free of this driver. To step out of the please others driver, he needs to play a new message in his head. It's okay to please myself.
Pause. It's okay to please myself. Anyway, if you are doing something, and see, that's my child mode that always wants to say pause. That's my child brain. If you are doing something and not trying to be the best to ever do it, you are wasting your time. And again, that's not the message that the lady just said. Perfection is an impossible task. Perfection is something you cannot achieve. Trying to be the best is different than being perfect, because the best still won't be perfect. Perfect is an unachievable outcome. So you'll never reach it. So you'll always be in a state of consternation, of anxiety, of being short of your goal. And if you have an emotional driver that makes you feel bad about yourself because you're never meeting that standard, it's actually going to negatively impact your performance, which is then going to go into, like, we're going to do a stream in a week or two about the wall of awful. So you feel bad about it because you're never meeting the standard. So now you feel bad that you fell short of the standard. And because you feel bad, your performance suffers. Now you feel bad that your performance is suffering and you're failing to meet the standard, and you're further away from your goal of meeting the standard, which makes you even more shamed and guilted. And then you think about what your parents would think of you, and then that makes you suffer even more emotionally, which further impacts you. Maybe you end up going to work late that day, or you're late to an appointment and you lose an opportunity. And that makes you further away from your perfectionism. And you keep moving further and further, and you keep building a wall of shame and guilt and failure until you can't even see straight anymore. You can't see past it. That's problematic. That's what a lot of people do, because unlike you, Greg, who's a full person, a lot of people have a lot of emotional drivers and barriers that don't allow them to operate. It'll shut them down. Drive yourself crazy and just do it. I was a perfectionist like that. Growing up, my mother was very critical. Critical parents can definitely drive. I agree it's impossible. It shouldn't stop you from trying. And again, this is more about the emotionality of it, not about the activity. You're speaking more about the activity. Keep trying to do the best you can. Always give your best. That's more about the activity itself. I'm pouring myself into it with maximum effort, trying to attain maximum achievement. But maximum is different than perfect. So it can send you to an unhealthy mental or emotional space to be trying to chase something that you can't have. Like a dog chasing his tail. It will make you sick if you keep it up. Was there something that helps you make that shift? That's a great question. M. Mills, was there something that helps you out of needing everything to be perfect? I don't feel bad. I just work harder to get better. Not for other people, but for myself. And you have a well-tuned sense of yourself. And a lot of people do not. A lot of people do not. A lot of people, like we talked about with that okay, you're okay, I'm not okay. A lot of people are in comparative mind states, and they're comparing themselves to somebody else or something else. So they're chasing something that they cannot have, or that's not even, they just can't, that's not in their wheelhouse, not in their capacity. That can put you in an emotional space that's negative. F them parents. What is up, Black-Hearted with New Growth? Oh, so good to see you. Excuse me. Good to see you. Glad to have you in the building. We are going into the second half of this. It's called transactional analysis, but it's more about the analysis of interactions between people and how our minds and emotions are governed in certain ways, or from childhood. A lot of scripts that come from childhood. So they're talking about drivers. The last one was perfectionism. This one is people pleasing. Another, what we call this people pleasing. So perfectionism is how we would word the first one. The second one is people pleasing. There are a lot of people pleasers out here, and they'll go along to get along, and that's problematic. So they were talking about Mark. And I paused right on the perfect sentence. It's okay to please myself. It is okay, Greg. I know this. I know Greg put this in here.
The try hard driver. Tracy is a
Ooh.
school teacher. She's enthusiastic, gets involved in the after-school activities, and is the first to volunteer to run new projects. She is popular with her students and colleagues, as she's always willing to help others. On the downside, Tracy leaves work incomplete, so she...
sorry. And that is the Greg, I promise you, I hear that so often. But there are two things. Saying that I'm okay as I am does not mean that I stop trying to improve. It's saying that I remove myself. I reject the pressure that I have to be something that I cannot be. I reject putting the pressure on myself to be something that I'll never be. If everybody were to say everybody has to be 6'7", I'll never be 6'7". But then maybe I'd be one of those people that goes out there and breaks their legs and has them continually like broken again to stretch their legs out so that I can finally one day get to 6. I might push myself through extreme pain-inducing, possibly like long-term health-causing problems in order to live up to something that I'm not built for. I'm just not built for it. So I'll go through all kinds of existential life questioning modes and thinking and feeling because I can't live up to this standard. This is not just height. This could be about beauty. It could be about features. It could be about living up to your older brother, sister, mother, father. It could be anything. Your job. I won't get the job I thought I should have. The moment you put on life is suffering, Buddhism, life is suffering. The moment you attach a lot of expectations to something like perfectionism, I have a lofty expectation that's unreachable. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. And that disappointment for some people can drive them to push harder. For other people, it can break them. And that's who this message is for the people who will get broken by disappointment. If pleasing yourself is wrong, I don't want to be right. Yeah, it isn't a quitting stance. But the problem is the language, the English language, there's no difference between that and what would be a quitting stance. I'm okay, and I'm not going to try anymore. The second part of that is the only thing she didn't say. I'm okay as I am. The assumption then is Greg saying, I'm not going to try anymore. But the reality for most people is I'm still going to try, but maybe at my own pace. But there's more in the language, the English, the way we use the language. It leaves something to be desired. That comment made me think of George Costanza. I guess I draw a hard line between what you can control and what you can't. I can't be taller, but I can always do a better job. You can always do a better job, but you can't always do a perfect job. Perfect job is where the problem is. People internalize, I need to be perfect. And you're chasing something that you can't be. Now, if you have a healthy understanding of perfect, this is the optimal way that this thing should be. And I'm striving for that. But if I don't reach it, I'm okay as a human being. I'm just going to keep striving to get it to that optimal state. That's different. But the way people internalize perfectionism is if I'm not that, if I don't have that, if I didn't do that, I'm not okay as a human being. And that's what becomes problematic. It's problematic when you think I'm not okay as a human being. I'm lesser as a human being because I did not accomplish X or because I do not look like X. That's the problem.
So she can move on to another more exciting project. She also finds it hard to say no, and as a result, she's often tired, tense, and anxious. Like all drivers, Tracy's try-hard driver is rooted in her early experiences.
So she's calling it a try-hard. Most of us will call it like a busybody. Just always into everything. Never says no, always in it, taking on too many tasks, and ends up burning themselves out and doing a half job on a lot of it because they just got to be involved in everything.
The parental message was, to be okay here, you have to keep trying hard. This message created the illusion that if Tracy tries hard, then she is worthy of love, respect, and acceptance. The reality is her try-hard driver causes major sacrifices to time, relationships, and health. It also hinders her autonomy and independence. To break out of this driver, Tracy needs to play a new message that says, it's okay to complete a task before moving to the next task. The be strong.
So it's okay to complete a task before moving to the next task. Because I'm sure we all know at least one person who has started like 50 businesses, but never stuck with any of them, or started 50 projects or 50 hobbies, or they started building 3 cars in their backyard, but all of them are inoperable. Like, we all know a lot of people who start a lot but don't finish any of them. And, you know, I've got that quitter in me. I try not to start a lot because I know I quit a lot. For the record, I agree with the second and third part. That's what's up. That's good. That's good.
Driver. Kurt is a police officer and stays calm in situations such as road traffic accidents, arresting criminals, and even working on murder cases. He has the ability to take control of challenging situations, and his colleagues feel safe around him, knowing that he's very capable and has everything under control. On the downside, Kurt really struggles with the emotional impact of policing, but never asks for help. He hates weakness, and instead of asking for help, he bottles up his emotions and gets angry at those around him.
Fellas.
His be strong driver creates the illusion of being in control. As a child, he received the parental message, to be okay around here, you have to be strong. To break free of this driver, Kurt needs to remind himself, it's okay to show how I feel and be open about what I want.
Now, we like when I talk about the English language, we use okay for a lot of things. Okay is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It's a muscular word. Brolic. It is okay. It is natural. For a social creature such as humans, the way we set up our society, it is normal. It is acceptable for you to show how you feel and to be open about what you want. But that's the ideal. That's the modeling of society. If you have people interacting, it should be acceptable for people to show how they feel and be open about what you want. So when she says that, on a certain level, that's true. Like this is why Greg had a problem with that first part. On a certain level, what they're saying is true, but words have multiple understandings and interpretations. The problem is, in our society, not everybody has the ability to be open and express how they feel the same way, or with the same capacity, or with getting the same empathy. So although you're able to do it, it's not against the law. You are socially penalized. Kind of like that video 2 videos ago, where the person said there's a social layer and a psychological layer. This is the same thing. On the social layer, sure, it's okay to show how you feel and be open about what you want. But the psychological layer is you're going to receive some pushback. You're going to receive a penalty. For some people, in certain circumstances, it's not okay for you to show how you feel. So that's why a lot of people will, when they hear like things like this, they'll reject it because there's like multiple levels of this. Like Greg was right. Some people will take what they're saying. It's okay for me to, it's okay. I'm okay just as I am. Some people say that to quit trying. Other people say that to alleviate the burden of perfection. Both are true, but the words are kind of vague in that way. So I want to add clarity to this one, because while it is okay to show how I feel and be open about what I want, you may get penalized. Somebody may quit dealing with you. Somebody may get uncomfortable around you. Somebody might mock you. So that's something that you just have to understand that in our society, it's not perfect. It's not ideal. Although it's acceptable for a person to show how they feel on a social level, on a psychological level, somebody's going to attack. Somebody's going to poke at your psychological well-being because you took that moment to show your vulnerability. I mean, that song makes a stronger case for Ariel being a white woman. Shots fired. Uh-oh. I was behind. I was behind. What I missed? It was a song I missed. That sounds familiar. Ooh, what about the person who keeps helping everyone and not completing the help for themselves? I'm asking for a friend who looks like me. Listen, that's a problem too, NA. That's a problem too. Because how can you give everybody else what you won't give yourself? That's disrespectful to yourself. Like you're putting yourself at a lower regard than everybody around you. I'll help you get to a place that I won't help myself get to. So either you're elevating them or you're lowering yourself. I'm not sure which way. I'm not sure where the emphasis is in your mind, in your emotions. They're more important or I'm less important. But somehow there's been a disparity and I would say you need to balance that out. I'm willing to help you get to where I'm at. And if it's your children, maybe helping your children get further than you, I get. But every random person that needs to get somewhere, nah. Wait, I can be open? Yes. Back to disagreeing. Don't bother others with your problems. Just handle them. See? That's not practical either. We're social. We're social. And Greg, I know you actually in practicality don't believe this. You think you do. But I would say if your house caught fire, you would probably call the fire department. You wouldn't say don't bother people with your problems, just handle them. If your car breaks down, if you don't know how to fix the car, you're going to go to a mechanic. You're going to get on the bus. You need to get somewhere, but you're going to get on the bus or you're going to drive a car. Somebody else had to make the car. At being a human in a society, we burden each other with our problems just by being present. Because we're going to need food, we're going to need transportation, we're going to need clothing, and we don't know how to do all the aspects of living. We don't. So we're already a burden to somebody else. So you're going to burden other people with your problems. The best thing to do is just accept that and to not overtax the system, to overtax people. I don't know why I say what I want and just handle myself. Just to be clear, I don't actually care about the Little Mermaid being black, like even a little. That's what's up. The message in that movie, though, daddy should buy you things, and if you don't speak, you will get a man. That's crazy. Yeah, based on how you show that shit. Showing it, don't be the problem. It is very much the how. Wow, I'm so disrespectful. Yikes, help me, Lord. Yeah. I mean, because there's only a couple people that I would push and promote to be further than myself. Like if I know I could get to 3 miles down the road and I see somebody else that could also get there, I'm going to give them gas to get to the 3rd mile and leave myself with only 1 mile of fuel. That's crazy. So then how am I going to get to that 3rd mile if that's where I intend to go? That's crazy. Greg would know how to stop the fire and fix that car. See. Greg's Superman. Greg is the Ubermensch. He is the all-man, the all-father.
The hurry-up driver.
Hurry up!
Christine is a project manager. She enjoys completing projects in the shortest possible time frame and seeks out the most efficient way to work. She is known for being enthusiastic and action-orientated and often manages several different projects at a time. She talks quickly, frequently checks her watch, and can deliver a surprising amount of work. On the downside, Christine is impatient, gets easily agitated, and makes a lot of mistakes. To step out of the hurry-up driver, Christine needs to remind herself, I'm okay if I take my time. As you can see, drivers are rooted in your past experiences and operate from an unhealthy I'm not okay life position. The aim of transactional analysis is to reclaim your autonomy and move to the healthy life position of I'm okay, you're okay. To take
Yeah, so everybody, this stuff is trying to help you get to the place where you can see yourself as okay and see others as okay. A balanced state, as all things should be. We were told that by Thanos. All things should be balanced. What a healthy life position. I'm okay, you're okay. And Greg is a person. I love it. A real person without the life scripts. That's beautiful. But that's great, though, that you've learned to do things so that you didn't have to rely on other people. That is wonderful. That's probably proof of that adult scripting. I need to learn how to do this so I'm not leaning on other people. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm okay regardless. You're just so defiant, Quantum. Why are you so defiant? Why are you so defiant? It don't even need to be that fun. What's that thing that's like something like, you don't need to be that strong. You don't need to be that tough. You don't need to be that tough. Like, it's okay, Kwame. You can just let it down a little bit. You can just let it down. You can just let it down just a little bit. You know, just let your guard down, Quantum. Go ahead and put on a flowery dress tomorrow, a white dress with like purple and blue and yellow flowers, and just spin in a field barefoot. That'll just take all that edge off. Just take all that edge off. All of it. So we are on the last leg. It's a Leo thing. Okay. We are on the last leg. So hopefully I've done a good job of kind of pointing back to the prior videos and things that they've said to see how this is kind of a thread and it's building upon. This is something, if this speaks to you, if this speaks to the way you think, if this speaks to the way your emotional state runs, the things that I've said, it may be something that you want to save and go back over. And I can also send you the ladies. Let me put that in the thing now. Why not do that in the first place? Copy clean link. Bow. I am okay in turtle mode. Ooh, I'm not okay with that. Anyway, that is the link at Lewis Psychology. If you want to find her, check her out, because she tries to, in her description, have the subsequent video so that you can follow them in a line. So I'm going to be using some of her content for the next few weeks, because we're going to talk about the drama triangle. We're going to talk about some of this stuff because I've noticed it, but I didn't have words for it. Oh my God, it's been so beautiful. It's so wonderful to have words for some of this stuff. I don't like the words she uses, but like transaction analysis, not really. I know we say like everything's a transaction, but she's really talking about a lot of times about an interaction. Yeah, sassing a little bit. Sassing a little bit. As great as Michael Jordan was, he was wise enough to accept help to become an icon. Absolutely. Greg Brown, I had to go into the dark to be able to handle the light. Okay, Bane. I'm sassing my mom. Yes, sassing my mom. I was watching the drama triangle video a week ago. Listen, it's probably you, because you said something about Alicia Keys on something, and all of a sudden I got it. And I don't listen to videos. I don't listen to music videos on YouTube. But then all of a sudden they said something. Alicia Keys video was recommended for me. I'm like, I don't watch music videos on YouTube. So it's probably you. I really wish you would quit. I really wish you would quit. Some of the stuff is just random. Every time I get a random video suggestion, it's always you or Nova. Nova was the person that had me getting these 5-second out of context random, just somebody blurting something or screaming. I know that was Nova. I know it was Nova. Yeah, ask for help and be able to accept help. Because that's if you're a prideful person. Even if you get up the nerve to ask for help and deal with somebody saying no, the rejection, or somebody saying yes, you have to be able to live with the help that you ask for, which is difficult because not everybody does things how and when you want them to do it. Codependency videos are from me. Yeah, haven't. Alicia Keys. We are getting into the last video, y'all, so we should be wrapped up in under an hour. Next week, just so I can get to it, let me look at it. Next week, I want to do, and this is kind of inspired by Breeze too. Relationships are dynamic. So it's actually not going to be as focused in the same stuff, but I am going to bring back in the ego states. And I might swap that out because something that came up in Discord today makes me want to talk about this other thing. So I may shift stuff around. I've got like thumbnails out for the next 3 or 4 weeks. I might juggle, so be prepared. Help may not look exactly like you pictured. That's an important one. My algorithm is farmers blowing up hogs with tannerite and women in loose tops riding roller coasters. YouTube thinks I have ladies under my porch. Jesus Christ. Greg, you are the best. Some of the sentences, you and Nova, y'all say y'all compose sentences I never thought my eyeballs would see. And they need to make sure you actually need it. Greg Brown will be annoyed if you ask amiss. I don't think he'll be annoyed if Anae asks for help. Not one bit. More like inspiring you to stop turning down our help. The joy you get from giving is robbing us from that feeling to give to you. See, oh, look at that. Greg on the watch list. You already know. You already know. But last video, y'all, it is 6 minutes, 49 seconds. So this is talk about life positions. So we had the ego states, or the mode. I'm calling them the modes. The parent, the adult, the child mode. How that goes into life scripting. How the life scripting goes into drivers. And now the driver is going to push you into life positions.
Eric Berne, the founder of Transactional Analysis, or TA, suggests that as a young child, you have already formed certain beliefs about yourself and others. He calls these life positions, and they can be summarized as: I'm okay, you're okay. I'm not okay, you're okay. I'm okay, you're not okay. I'm not okay, you're not okay. The life positions were put in this quadrant by Franklin Ernst in 1971. Ernst called the quadrant the OK Corral. Let's take a deeper look at each life position. Joshua's parents were attentive and loving. As a child, Joshua had a fundamental sense that his parents were trustworthy, loving, and supportive people. This enabled him to view himself as innately worthy, valuable, and lovable. Hence Joshua's life position of I'm okay, you're okay.
Now, Bree, if nobody else, then you'll understand why, based on what she just said, why I think this is attachment styles looked at from a different angle.
As an adult, Joshua extended this view to others by an attitude of openness, honesty, and trust. If you occupy the...
Real quick, because what y'all talking about is actually going to come up in one of the lessons, but I can't remember which one. Don't ask me why. They are talking about this lady, and this series is actually going to get into this. There's a triangle. The hero, the villain, and the victim. There's a triangle. The hero, the villain, the victim. And the hero will help, but will never teach people how to help themselves, so that they are dependent upon their help. So we're going to talk about that in the coming weeks, but I can't remember which one that is. I know it's not next week, but I'm probably going to switch next week's out anyway.
I'm okay, you're okay life position, you'll be accepting of yourself and others. This life position is known as the healthy position. These 4 life positions are also known as existential positions and represent the essential value you perceive in yourself and others. We all begin life from the position I'm okay, you're okay, and we shift to another position if something interrupts the parent-child dynamic. For example, a parent withdraws love, or you experience abuse or neglect. Charlie's mother was a barrister and his father a surgeon. His parents worked hard but were emotionally unavailable. They pushed Charlie to achieve academically, and they were frequently critical of his grades at school. In reality, Charlie worked exceptionally hard at school and thought this would please his parents, but it was never good enough in their eyes. Charlie never felt good enough. The I'm not okay, you're okay position is known as a depressive or one-down position. It's characterized by feeling powerless and feeling inferior in comparison with others. Juliet, the 25-year-old daughter of a wealthy restaurateur, adopts a life position, I'm okay, you're not okay. Juliet is working her way up in her mother's business with a view of eventually taking over the chain of restaurants. At work, Juliet adopts the stance of, I'm the CEO's daughter, so I'm better than you. Juliet feels superior and is critical of others. She projects her disdain onto anyone she perceives as inferior. This position requires that there be someone less than in order to maintain the sense that you are okay. The I'm okay, you're not okay position is a trap that people in authority fall into. They assume their position makes them better than others, and by comparison, others are not okay. This is a defensive position of trying to stay one up on others. Other people will most probably perceive you as arrogant. Sean's father had mental health issues, and although he stayed at home
We
all
talking about my
day,
dad.
he was emotionally unavailable. Sean's mum worked hard to provide for the family,
She did.
but was either at work, doing the housework, or too tired to engage.
I mean, she was.
Sean was bullied at school and never found the opportunity to tell his parents. He felt alone in the world with no love or support from anyone.
A little bit of that.
At only 10 years old, Sean started to self-harm as a way of expressing his deep...
Hold up real quick. Are we not going to mention this is going on the vast majority of people who follow psychology? What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you saying? Restate that, please. Are we not going to mention that these problems are happening even to people who follow psychology? Is that what you're saying? Because there's no getting away from the problems. Is that like life is the problem? You're going to life. You're going to life. There's no escaping the life. I mean, there's a way to escape the life, but you know, going in on, I mean, looking down on people. Oh yeah. This is not to people are still going to be people. People are still going to be people. This is to give people the tools to look at themselves and them circumstances. Okay, to give people the tools to look at themselves and their circumstances differently. Because a lot of people deal with mental and emotional issues simply because they believe certain things of themselves. And that's all this is to help alleviate. It's one problem. It's just one problem in a million different breaking points, a million different problem points. But a lot of people get stuck here. Seeing yourself as better than others, cue everyone. Now, that's true. That's true. Once a lot of people get credentials, they fall into these same traps. Because you're a human, you're always susceptible to a lot of mental and emotional traps. There's no way around that.
As a way of expressing his deep inner pain. As a teenager, Sean's first girlfriend cheated on him, which served to reinforce his life position. I'm not okay and you're not okay. This life position is known as the position of hopelessness and frustration. If you operate from this life position, you may have lost interest in life and may see life as totally pointless. This life position is characterized by people who are unable to cope with life, and it may even lead to injury or death.
Gotta watch out.
There are slight differences between Byrne and Ernst and their conceptualization of life positions. Byrne described your life position as a total life direction, fairly fixed and not easy to change. Ernst believes we can shift between positions. For example, you might operate from the I'm okay and you're not okay position at home and shift to the I'm not okay and you're not okay position when talking to your manager. You may then shift to the I'm okay and you're okay position when talking to your best friend. However, Ernst believes that although you move between life positions on the surface, you maintain one central life position underneath.
I'm okay.
The good news is that your core life position can change. TA is a humanistic approach and its core philosophy is optimistic. So although you can't change your history, you can change your response to your history. One way to work on changing your core life position is by changing how you do things in everyday life. For example, if your core life position is I'm not okay and you're okay, you can make a conscious effort to engage in I'm okay and you're okay behaviors and transactions in everyday life. If you continue with this new surface level behavior, you may slowly begin to alter your core life position. This is likely to take some time, so be patient and keep practicing. I would also highly recommend you work alongside a psychological therapist if you would want to do some work on changing your life positions.
And so I let that play. I was trying to get something so I could show you what I'm talking about. I'm trying to work on something on this other side her. Can that be seen? That might be able to be seen. It's a little difficult, but give me a second. I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people like me. Absolutely. Absolutely great. Let me see. I'm going to download this photo really quickly. Uno momento, because I want to pull this in. That was weird. Let me see. Present. It's not a video file. Why is it doing that? Why can't I just show the photo? Why can't I just pull a photo in, guys? Give me a second. Okay. This may or may not work. Share screen. Let's just do the entire screen. Boom. All right, so I have this overlapping because these are the two. There's the I'm okay, you're okay. But I also put over the quadrant. They have it in a circle, but it's the same thing. It's a quadrant. For the attachment styles. That's why I say a lot of this stuff starts in childhood. So a lot of these people are looking at the exact same thing just from different angles. So in the okay, you're okay, I'm okay, they've got the secure attachment style. And the I'm not okay, you're okay, it's the dismissing. The I'm not okay, you're not okay is the fearful. And the I'm okay, you're not okay is the preoccupied. So there's a lot of overlap in a lot of these schools, but they just use different language. So I just see these things as all being related. And the connective tissue, nobody spends a lot of time just connecting this stuff or simplifying it. Actually, I think we do a really good job of actually doing more complicating it. Like instead of calling it like an interaction, they call it a transaction. They call it an ego state, which ego and egotistical has a certain connotation. So I think a different word would be used. That's why I like the adult mode, the child mode, and the parent mode, or this model, or something else. They definitely need better language. But I see the through line with these things. So you have that parent, adult, and child modes. That's something that's really important to understand because we see it, like we pointed out, how in these conversations, even in a conversation with a single person or even just alone in your car, how you can shift in between these three states. And that's important to understand when that's happening. You can see it when certain lines of dialogue happen, when somebody's trying to, like we say, son you, or trying to cheat you like you're trying to treat me like a kid. If you say something like you're patronizing me or you're condescending, you're probably coming from that child mode. Somebody's putting you in a lower position. And the adult mode is somebody lifting themselves up to a higher position. So it's just a way to kind of centralize and understand the dynamics of how those energies go from adult to child and across. Or when the communication is even from a parent to child, it goes. But if somebody disrupts it with adult conversation, like, no, I understand why you feel that way. Let's have a conversation about it. Then people need to shift out of either the victim or the controller. All you ninjas is my son. Facts. Let go of everything you can't control and put the effort into what you can. That's wisdom. I'm good enough. Oh, that's already read that one. Mom, it's a miracle. I thought you were dead. So I did like that series of videos, and I thought that it would be useful. It did go into the let me go back. It went into the narratives, the stories, the scripting, the stories that you tell yourself, because that shapes everything else. That shapes the drivers that you use, like which model. Like there was the busybody, there was they call it the try hard. There was the person who's rushing everything. There's a person who's taking on too many tasks. There's a person who was, there's a few of them. Can't remember them all. We've watched like 4 videos straight. So but I think that that's interesting information. I think it's beneficial. A lot of this stuff is stuff I had to work through on my own because I did not have the benefit of a therapist when I was working through these specific issues. Again, there's no like, I'm done with it. I'm human, so I'm still going to have these issues creep up and arise. So I'm not saying I'm done with it, but I figured some of this stuff out. And I did not have language for it. I just kind of understood it. So I'm thankful that I found something this week, I guess, thanks to Bree being in my algorithm. Thanks to Bree being in my algorithm, that gave me language for some of this stuff. That I understood it, but I didn't have clear language for it. So I'm thankful that I can for this. Did I hand this lecture out in the class discussion? I didn't see it in the syllabus. No, I didn't have any handouts. I didn't have any handouts because the video will be available. It will be an open video test. So you will be able to, use the transcript function. After like 2 or 3 days, they upload the transcript. So you can just do a Control F search if you want to look for certain keywords. And you'll be able to, scroll through the video that way. Win this quiz. This was great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. The quiz will be on Friday. The quiz will be on Friday. So pop quiz. Everybody that was in the chat, don't run. I just also go from 10 to 9. Listen, everybody that's been in the chat. I just discovered a new tool within YouTube where I can see everybody that's viewed the video. So you all will be receiving a quiz whether you like it or not. And because I am God, I will be striking your internet. Your internet service will be stricken for the remainder of the month if you do not pass the quiz. Those are the rules. So sorry if you've been here, you're going to lose your internet if you did not stay for the entire session. And if you don't know what these things are, if you don't know, these tests are culturally biased, but see, I'm the proctor. I am the administrator of this test. So it's going to have a lot of references from Black culture. It's going to have a lot of references from Black culture. There'll be a lot of white culture references too. Like we're going to mention Costanza. Costanza came up. And I said sunning. I said, sunning. You're not going to sun me. That's going to be on the quiz too. I already passed. I bet you did. You can quiz me, but you can't control the answers. Be careful what you ask for. I will quiz you, Greg, but you are going to take your quiz in a closed room. Rubber room. Absolutely. I'm going to let you have a conjugal test. You and some young lady of your choosing, you go into the rubber room and you figure out your test answers. And I don't even want you to hand me anything, Greg. I'm going to just figure out that you passed it because you have all the answers. So I know you passed it, but I'm going to let you go take your test with some a teacher's assistant. Maybe 30. Yeah, you can go there. Yeah, I don't want to know anything that Greg is doing. I'm not touching anything that Greg hands me back. I'm not trusting it, but I know it's right. That's the only thing I'm going to know. I'm going to know it's right. I'm not touching it, though. Nope. Not after what he's talking about with them cousins. Gave a whole new meaning to Kendra Cousins. But, yeah, so that was today. We are going to continue this. It's going to get, it's going to be different up. It's going to vary. So next week is going to be only 1 or 2 videos from her. I might not even do that because we went through them today. But I know everybody doesn't watch the same at the same time. So I don't know. We'll see. But next week it's going to be different people in the videos. And we're going to have a little bit more commentary. 3. Now 1. When we get to the drama cycle one will be good. Now, there's a lot of videos in it, but the drama cycle, I'm looking forward to that one because I've folded in shame, SBE, shame, blame, and explain. So the drama cycle mirrors shame, blame, and explain. If y'all know me at all, y'all know I like to mix metaphors. I like to analogize. I like to blend concepts. So the SBE movement, the shame, blame, and explain movement that's happening on the internet, that's going to be tied into the drama cycle. So prepare for that. We've got the wall of awful. Now that one will be very, that won't be more solution oriented. because I'm going to use Dr. K, who's on Healthy Gamer, and he talks about different interventions for this, like what do you call it? Paralysis. Emotional or mental paralysis is what I'm going to call it, due to like you've overwhelmed yourself on stress, anxiety, something like that. He offers physical interventions. He offers cognitive interventions. So we're going to work through that 1 week. And you're activating my nervous system is going to be a stream. That's going to be, Breeze talked about co-regulated functionality, comfort zones, things like that. So that's going to be an interesting one, but I got to build that out. That one's I've got to pull some more. I got to pull some more for that. Not more video, but I got to pull my thoughts together because we had a whole Discord exchange, and I gotta figure out what I want to pull together for that. So that's the coming Mondays. I'm gonna keep those on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Those will be my Monday streams for the next few weeks. Tomorrow, oh my God, I've got to finish time stamping. But there was an exchange on another panel that I just want to go over because people are stupid. People are so stupid. People don't listen to what they say when they talk. I don't understand. Like I wish I had it. I wish I had it clipped. But Mr. He said it in the chat. Do people not realize that they're being recorded when they're on these panels? Will there be a grading curve? The grading curve will be the trash can, because there's a curve to the top of a trash can, right? If you don't pass, that's where I'm going to put your test. And that's where your career is going to be, in the trash can. And it's curved. It's curved lid. I mean, I don't need the woman. I mean, you know, she can just hold your pencil. I learned how to please myself today. The wall of awful is what I call my dick. Okay, Greg needs to time out. That's why I was trying to send him in there with a woman. I will take my test with loud music. You are sending me one? Absolutely. You'll receive a test too, and I'll make sure that there are like all the answer keys, all the answers, like, you know, there's like A, B, C, D, E, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it's been a minute. I'll make sure that it's in the shape of a cross, because I know you're very spiritual. So it'll be, you know, may the Lord be with you and bless you and guide you. You have to buy me dinner first if you want me to play that game. I have standards, quantum. Don't be hitting on Greg in the chat. Don't be hitting on Greg in the chat. This is not a hookup. This is not a hookup site. This is not eHarmony. This is not Bumble. This is not Tinder. This is not Hinge. This is unhinged. This is unhinged. I am getting ready to head out though, folks, man. Hope you learned something. Hope you, if you didn't learn anything, because this is stuff we've experienced, everything that happened today in those videos, the stuff we've experienced it. We may not have had words for it, but we've experienced it. And I pointed out multiple times, we've had words for it, but we don't use them in a system where all of it is connected. So I really believe understanding that all of these patterns are connected and a part of one system of thinking is helpful. I believe that. Nobody else has to. But I do think that figuring out how we operate and being able to control it a little bit better than the day before, I think that's beneficial. I think fat life would fit the situation better. Fed or fat? Is that a fat joke? Dinner is not a hookup. Greg got to eat too. I don't know. You have to buy me dinner first is what, you know, typically before a hookup. You could at least buy me dinner. But you know. But yeah, tomorrow, man, we're going to be talking about that panel. It was on the Aaron O channel, who typically runs Flight Club, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not doing weird shit on the empty stomach. Depends. I'm done with you, Greg. So tomorrow we'll be having that conversation. Thursday, I'll be over here with Candid, and we're going to pull up the solutions. And we're going to pull up like 3 of the solutions and work through a SWOT analysis, you know, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we're going to work through that on a couple of those solutions from last week on Thursday. And I want to do that. I'm going to keep that on Thursdays. On Thursdays, I want to start working through some solutions on stuff. Again, maybe nothing will come of it, but at least we're stretching our brain towards solutions. Again, all that reorienting putting your mind in a mode of solutions, all that is beneficial. If you want to come up with solutions, if you want things to be better, you might want to think of solutions. As opposed to, we're good at thinking of problems. We're constantly thinking of problems. I think that's part of our problem, is that we're always thinking of problems. We get on a panel and we talk about the problem, the problem, the problem. Here's another problem. Another problem is maybe we don't need to do that anymore. Maybe we don't need to do that anymore. Dinner don't account in the book of Quantum. It's charity at best. Ooh. Rashawn acts like it's easy to get a dog collar on a hungry person. Okay. Okay. Greg, I can't stand you. So that's going to be this week. Next week, you know, I already got Monday mapped out. Next Tuesday, I think I'm going to do, because I don't have the same perspective a lot of manosphere people are going to have about that Aisha Curry thing. I actually want to talk about the men's response. So I think I'm going to do next Tuesday. I think I'm going to do something about the men's response to the whole Aisha Curry thing. So I have it tentatively titled. It's probably going to look crazy, but I forgot the name already. Where's it at? Nope, that's it. That's not it. Oh no, next Tuesday I'm with Mr. He Said. Now next Tuesday, Mr. He Said, the 27th. So I'm gonna have to figure out another day for that one. But I do have a tentative title, and I know I want to talk about the guy's response because there's a like a sympathetic insecurity. There's a like dying vicariously through these celebrities. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. You see what she's putting him through, but it's not you. It's weird. I don't know. There's something about it, but I want to talk about the response. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't know when that's going to be. I've got the Mondays into July already booked up. Tuesday next week, got that booked up. Thursday this week, Thursday going forward, I got booked up. So that's probably going to be it. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday is probably going to be my schedule. When I looked at the analytics a few times, Wednesdays are just not good days. I found that to be true when I tried it. Wednesdays just did not work out well. People are not here on Wednesday. I'm not sure why Wednesday is lighter than every other day of the week. Do y'all all like only show up on Wednesday for work? Like Monday, Tuesday, y'all kind of be off. Thursday, Friday, y'all be taking off. But Wednesday, like y'all be not here, not on the internet, not on YouTube. That's what YouTube says, not me. Just curious. So I am curious, but let me get ready to roll out. That's my schedule. Mondays and Thursdays are kind of set. Mondays are going to be like this mental health type stuff. Thursdays is going to be thinking through the solutions on that one topic, on the safety of, I would say, Black women. But more so, it's really just about the, I guess, dual-sided. It's going to be the safety of women, or how to mitigate the harm reduction of men. Harm reduction for men. Safety of women. It's going to be along those lines. Women and children, everybody needs to be safe from the people who are doing harm. Everybody needs to be safe from them. So that side of it's kind of, we can ungender it, but the same thing. How do we work towards solutions other than a new crime bill? Because we saw how that worked out, but there's got to be something we can do. If enough smart people come together and think about solutions, I've got to believe that we can come up with something. And even if it feels unreasonable, if we can break it down into chunks, we can break it down into small enough chunks where it starts to become more and more reasonable. The more chunks we break it down into, the more reasonable it becomes. But we got to start working towards that. I don't see people arm everyone. Solved. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. So I'll make sure I look through the solutions. Let me pull that up. If that's in the solutions, we'll talk about that on Thursday too. Solutions. Oh, that's not. No. That's where's my other thing at? There we go. Solutions. Okay. Crime bill. No, let's just get rid of character, uniforms, elections, curfews. Packing. Yes, you did say women packing. Everybody, a gun for everybody. Let me put that in there. I got to reconnect to continue. Don't do that to me. Women packing, but I'm gonna put that everybody. Gun for everybody. Cool. All right, Greg, Brian, I appreciate that. I'm gonna add that so they can delete all men. Listen, if it'll make them safe, excuse me. If it'll make people say, I don't know, we got to figure something out, because the politicians don't care. They don't care. Politicians don't care. So if we don't start thinking of solutions, we're just going to keep living with the problems. And when we start thinking about solutions, then we come up with a few, then we start working towards them. But doing nothing just leaves us where we are. And most people are scared. People don't want to go outside. They're scared to go outside. They're scared of the kids. They're scared of everything. So the only way to alleviate the fear is to do something. And we're not moving. We're not leaving countries. We're not really leaving the country. So got to do something. Anyway, that is it for today, you guys. Again, Mondays, try to keep it like this. It's going to be some mental health stuff for at least through probably July. I've already got five weeks of it. Thursday is going to stick on solutions, so that's going to be several weeks. So at least through July, August, we're going to be working on solutions on Thursdays. Tuesdays, until I can convince Bree to at least do one more stream with me before she calls it quits and leaves for the land of conventions and tourist trap money. Tuesdays will be like my free day. So tomorrow we're going to get a little bit into the mess. So Toxic Tuesdays probably for a while. Toxic Tuesdays, I like to troll a little bit. So tomorrow we're trolling. Tomorrow we're having fun at these panelists' expense. One of which, if this is your friend, anybody that watches me, if this is your friend, if this is somebody you subscribe to and love, forgive me in advance. I am making a little bit of fun of Security Boss and her husband. Just letting you know ahead of time. I don't know the lady. I'm not sub to the lady. But boy, making a little bit of fun of her. Cause man, she had a poor showing on this panel. It was terrible. So we're making fun of her a little bit. I'm gonna laugh at her. She was making no sense. But I gotta finish time stamping that tonight, so I'll be ready for it tomorrow. I can't remember what time I put for the show tomorrow either. It's either 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. I want to say 3. You might go both ways, but I don't believe for a second 4 hours of foreplay would be good enough for you long term. Oh, you're talking about quantum. Jesus Christ. I'm like, Greg, no, thank you, sir. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you, sir. No, thank you. Oh, sir. Oh, sir. Oh, sir. Sir. They been going in on her. I don't watch too many people, so I don't know who's been going in on her. The only person I saw remark about it was Brother Clarence, but he doesn't mention names. So I have no idea. I don't be out here in these YouTube streets watching a lot of people. So I have no idea who's talked about it, but it was goofy. So I look at it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was like funny in a sad way. Funny in a sad, stupid way. But we'll look at that tomorrow. If everybody's seen it and watched it, that's cool. I'll just sit up here by myself and talk about it. But that is it for today, y'all. I think that I've gone over the schedule. Anything else? Is there anything else? Thank you again, Danique and Harris Tribe Media Group for the donations today. I'm trying to think. Thank you overall for Von Eric for all the music submissions. I appreciate that. Oh, it's cool. It wasn't even on her channel. She can't copyright me for somebody else's channel. Yeah, it wasn't on her channel. It wasn't on her channel. Now, if Aaron O strikes me for puts a thing on it, yeah. If Aaron O puts something on it, that's cool. Yeah, I'm cool. But it's not on her channel, so she can't strike me. She can't do nothing. And thank you, Harris Shaw. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for coming through. Again, make sure y'all come back next Tuesday. Double check the time, but I believe it's 7 p.m. Eastern. Mr. He said we'll be over here. We're going to chop it up about a few topics. That should be a lot of fun. Been looking forward to that for a while. And Candidate will be here Thursday. Candidate will be here Thursday with the solutions. That'd be cool too. Bro C and We On Lock had discussions. Well, we all watch We On Lock. So I missed it. All right, y'all. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I'm forgetting something. That's why I'm lingering. I feel like I forgot something. I don't know what it could be though. I got the schedule out the way. I thanked everybody. Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Freedom Day, whatever y'all call it. I'm not a big Black historian type person. They were to each other going in on her, so she's getting some buzz. I'm gonna tell you, man, I don't have like the best impression of her. It's all good. I figured. And I was like, I wasn't even gonna say it. I'm like, I'm assuming reacting. they were reacting to each other, maybe going in on her, so she's getting some buzz. I listened to her one time. The first time I heard her, she started making some sense. She was talking about something. I'm like, oh, okay, this lady gets it. I promise you, it wasn't even, I went and subscribed immediately because she was making so much sense for like 3 to 4 minutes. She got to about that 5th minute and started saying some of the most nonsensical stuff I had heard. And I'm like, is that the same person from 3 to 4 minutes ago? I went back. I think I was in Sir Hill's chat. And I was like, unsubbed. I went back and unsubscribed from her just as quick as I subscribed to her. I'm like, what? I'm gonna tell you exactly what I said.
Who the fuck are you? Excuse me. I only debate my equals. All others I teach.
Man, thank y'all so much. Blackhearted when
so let's get it. Killing it, leaving nobody no addicts. Like I'm Lenny Kravitz.
You have cooned so bad, my brother, that they damn near need to put your face in the dictionary next to the word coon. And I don't mean no disrespect, my brother. White man play you like he play Sega. He play you. This is you. He ain't even got to be in the hood. He got this. He played Negroes like this. But they not speaking up against your oppression. I wish another coon, boot-licking, shut-jiving Uncle Tom will get in my face talking about we need to be patient. We gotta sweat. Y'all don't want to sweat. Y'all don't want to sweat. Y'all just want to be comfortable. It's none of your concern. You don't have the right to ask me where I've been. You don't have a right to know what I was doing. You messed up, and I took a break. And guess what? The next time you mess up, I'm going to take another break.
A lot of older content creators be weaponizing their achievements on others. People not having it. Oh, they haven't caught on yet. My bad. Now, Quantum said, no, people are woke because they not having it. Hope not. Yeah, we can't have it. We cannot have it, though. We cannot have it, though. And then, yeah, have a good night, everybody. Appreciate y'all so much. Hope y'all have a wonderful evening. Happy Juneteenth and all that good stuff. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.